Taboo topics.
Bulletins after dark.
Riveting discussions.
Celebrity news and interviews.
Topics that are shunned by society.
And everything else in between.
Boyatings After Dark with Kareem Boyatings each and every Wednesday, 8 to 11 p.m.
Boyatings After Dark.
No topic is too taboo or hard to discuss. Come get your mind blown and your curiosity explored.
Boyatings After Dark.
As we grow older, there are many challenges that we have to confront, but these years can represent the best in our lives. Coming of Age during Nationwide This Morning on Thursdays explores issues persons 50 and over confront. It also provides expert opinions on how we can improve the quality of our lives as we get older. That's Coming of Age, this and every Thursday during Nationwide This Morning at 6:51 a.m.
Starting a renovation project? Start right. Start here at H&L Rapid True Value for all your essentials at our 10 stores island-wide. The time by H&L Rapid True Value is
Nationwide time, 5 o'clock.
Crisp and refreshing. Room temperature or chilled. A pure water would drink. The temperature by Pure Water is...
It's 34 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 31 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay.
News at 5 teasers are brought to you by Advanced Scales and Equipment. Service is our total commitment.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Nora Gay Banton.
And I'm Mahiri Stewart.
In Nationwide News at this hour, the JLP says the opposition PNP's call for the Prime Minister Andrew Holness to resign over the Integrity Commission report into his finances is desperate.
I believe this position taken by the PNP is baseless and without merit. Unlike some individuals in the PNP, the Prime Minister does not hide his assets in trust funds.
And the PNP Patriots say yes, he should step down.
Chartered accountant Dennis Chung questions the conclusions of the IC report into the Prime Minister's statutory declarations.
I'm trying to figure out what the relevance of that finding is, because transactions can move between accounts based on liquidating one asset, getting a loan.
And the Integrity Commission reveals that a company linked to a former permanent secretary in the Ministry of Labour and Social Security incurred a cost overrun of over $23 million.
Senior citizen rescued from ravine after being trapped for 5 days.
In news from the rest of the world, Haiti creates a provisional electoral council to prepare for its first elections since 2016.
U.S. Federal Reserve signals end to inflation fight with a sizable half-point rate cut.
In headline sports, the big game in the European Champions League ends in a goalless draw at the Etihad Stadium in England today.
And later in our broadcast, in our cover story at 5:35, we'll get reactions to the Integrity Commission's report into Prime Minister Andrew Holness's statutory declarations.
In public opinion at 6:26, we ask, what's your take on the report into the Prime Minister's statutory declarations? Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio and message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide90FM.
At 7, Trinidad and Tobago's Health Minister Terence Dale Singh was robbed at gunpoint in his constituency on Tuesday afternoon. TNT's National Security Minister Fitzgerald Hines will join us.
And at 8, it's Boyatings After Dark with Kareem Boyatings Weathers.
All these and more as we take you home on air on your mobile. Nationwide 90FM, nationwideradiojm.com, and on the Nationwide app available on the Google Play and the Apple App Store. This Wednesday afternoon, it's Wednesday, September 18, 2024.
News at 5 teasers were brought to you by Advanced Scales and Equipment. Service is our total commitment.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
Now the details. 24 hours after the tabling yesterday of the Special Investigation Report into whether Prime Minister Andrew Holness had illicitly enriched himself, a full-blown political row has erupted between the two major political parties. This morning, the opposition PNP pounced by calling on the Prime Minister to leave office immediately. This afternoon, the governing Jamaica Labour Party JLP responded to the PNP by rejecting its call. The JLP described the call as desperate. The party says Peter Bunting and Mark Golding should resign instead. Shaloy Smikle reports.
The Jamaica Labour Party says it maintains that the Integrity Commission report, upon which the PNP premised its call, had found the Prime Minister culpable of no wrongdoing. In fact, the JLP says it's noteworthy that the Director of Corruption Prosecution was clear in saying the Prime Minister's explanation is credible and therefore prosecution is unwarranted. The JLP says it wishes to make clear that the Prime Minister will remain in office. JLP spokesperson Juliet Cuthbert Flynn is describing the resignation call from the PNP as unwarranted.
You know, I understand that the PNP, out of desperation, wants to see the back of the most impactful and, dare I say, positively consequential Prime Minister that Jamaica has seen in recent times. This is a Prime Minister who has skillfully led our country through multiple crises and have not been implicated in unbecoming or any unlawful conduct. I also expect some PNP-affiliated groups, which position themselves as civil society, to shortly echo the same call of the PNP. However, I believe this position taken by the PNP is baseless and without merit. It is important to also note that unlike some individuals in the PNP, the Prime Minister does not hide his assets in trust funds.
Mrs. Cuthbert Flynn says the jab taken on Wednesday at Andrew Holness by the Mark Golding-led party is barefaced. She says it's noteworthy that the Integrity Commission's report into the financial affairs of the Prime Minister does not rise to the level of the 2010 investigation by the Office of the Contractor General into the alleged daring Bunting and Golding sweetheart deal. Cuthbert Flynn says it should never be forgotten that investigators from the OCG who probed the alleged sweetheart deal found reason to caution against the, quote, use of a corruption-enabling device which can be utilized by unscrupulous public officials to direct lucrative multi-million-dollar state contracts to connected or desired contractors, end quote. Cuthbert Flynn says it's in fact Golding and Bunting who should resign as opposition leader and leader of government business in the Senate. She says Bunting and Golding's current posture confirms they should never have been allowed near leadership positions.
The investigation found that Peter Bunting and Mark Golding's company arrived at a deal with the then PNP administration, and this involved public funds, which was conducted via an irregular and highly improper process. The fact of the matter is, due to the findings of the OCG probe, which is on the record of the Parliament, it is Peter Bunting and Mark Golding who should immediately step down.
Shaloy Smikle for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, President of the People's National Party Patriots, Christopher Henry, says the IC's report into the Prime Minister's finances creates serious doubts about his commitment to transparency and accountability.
His resignation will pave the way for an impartial investigation which is needed to bring light to these allegations and to these very doubtful scenarios that have been taking place. And we need the transparency and accountability, hence why he needs to step aside. This is an avalanche of incriminating evidence which paints a chilling picture of deception and corruption at the highest levels of our government.
Mr. Henry says the fact that the Prime Minister's statutory declarations remain uncertified raises significant concerns. He says it would be in the best interest of the country for Prime Minister Holness to step aside.
uncertified statutory declaration. After nearly 2 years, the Prime Minister's statutory declarations are still uncertified. Unexplained wealth. There are suspicious transactions between the various companies and the shell companies as well that have never really made any income but are transferring millions of dollars between one another. The inconclusivity of the overseas expert's financial report, which shows that he can't complete his report because the Prime Minister has hidden behind his omissions and his various discrepancies throughout this matter. These are just a few of the things that is a cause for concern. So we the Patriots are saying, in the best interest of the nation, Prime Minister, step aside now.
Christopher Henry, President of the PNP Patriots.
Chartered accountant Dennis Chung is questioning several of the Integrity Commission's claims in its report on Prime Minister Andrew Holness's statutory declarations. Chung says the basis of the conclusions are dubious. Siobhan Campbell tells us more.
In the report tabled in Parliament on Tuesday, Director of Investigations Kevon Stevenson says the millions of dollars transferred between 3 companies linked to Mr. Holness raises several concerns. He has called on Tax Administration Jamaica, TAJ, and the Financial Investigations Division, FID, to probe the company's accounts for potential irregularities. According to the report, Mr. Holness is connected with or had financial interests in 3 companies: Imperium, Positive Media, and Estate Bridge. Imperium is wholly owned by Mr. Holness and is a holding vehicle for his assets. A forensic examination of accounts attributed to Mr. Holness and the referenced companies for January 1, 2020 to June 13, 2023 revealed intercompany deposits and withdrawals in excess of $470 million and $427 million respectively. According to Mr. Stevenson, the transfers are not supported by the apparent capital generated. But Mr. Chung questions the veracity of this claim.
And I'm trying to figure out what the relevance of that finding is, because transactions can move between accounts based on, liquidating one asset, getting a loan, setting it up somewhere else, and set it up somewhere else for use. So, for example, Positive Jamaica, I understand, is a foundation, and you might want to move money from a foundation to another account, which is an investment account, to do transactions. Particularly when I look at Table 6, which is the assets, liabilities, and income held by Mr. Holness, you don't really see any significant positive movement in it. You see that there's movement between US dollar assets and Jamaican dollar assets, but the total of it doesn't seem as if there's any significant increase in assets.
The chartered accountant also calls into question claims by the Commission that a company named Green Emerald does not generate sufficient income to support loans valuing $20 million to Positive Media between 2021 and 2022.
I've looked through the report and I see, for example, that they're questioning loans from a company that does not have the income to lend the money. You don't have to lend money like that. You can lend money by basically being a guarantor, taking it in one name and sending it to another company. So there are some things there that I'm still trying to understand the conclusion from it, because I think there are still some things missing.
In addition, Mr. Chung says the Director of Investigation's claim of potential tax evasion on the basis of certain entities filing nil tax returns is dubious.
People filing nil returns, if you don't generate any profits, because remember, income is not profits, then, you could file a nil return. And a lot of people also in the country, not just be touching this one, get dividends, for example, which is taxed at source, and don't know that they're supposed to file that also. I don't find that there's anything suspicious with it. The assumption also is that the tax people are not doing their work if the filings were made, because when you file, you actually do file financial statements with it. So it's not that you're just going to file the returns alone. As I said, if there's no profit, then of course it's going to be nil, because you don't get charged tax on total income.
Mr. Chung says the Integrity Commission should share the detailed findings from the International Forensic Auditor who was engaged as part of its probe. Siobhan Campbell for Nationwide News.
The Integrity Commission has revealed that a company linked to the former permanent secretary in the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, Colette Roberts Risden, incurred a cost overrun of over $23 million for work done. That's according to a report tabled in the House of Representatives on Tuesday. The IC's investigation was prompted by allegations that the ministry frequently used direct contracting or limited tender for procurement and favored certain bidders. Dana Davy tells us more.
Nubian One Construction is owned by a cousin of Roberts Risden's husband. It was awarded 2 contracts in 2019. The first contract, valued at over $37 million for emergency repairs, saw an overrun of nearly $19 million. The second $10 million contract for executive suite renovations experienced a $5 million cost variation due to additional work. The Integrity Commission's Director of Investigations, Kevin Stevenson, says Roberts Risden endorsed and approved both contracts. However, in a response to the commission, the former permanent secretary said she was unaware of the family connection until after signing. She says she disclosed this information to the ministry's former director of administration. But the director later told the commission they could not recall the disclosure. Mr. Stevenson says the conflict of interest was not appropriately managed, thereby constituting an actual conflict of interest. This is premised on the fact that the representation made by Mrs. Roberts Risden in relation to her verbal disclosure cannot be verified, nor would it have been sufficient to meet the requirements of various policies. The IC recommended that the matter be referred to the Office of the Services Commission for review. However, the Integrity Commission could not substantiate the more serious charge of favoritism in the bidding process. According to the report, 238 contracts totaling over $820 million were awarded between 2016 and 2019 by the ministry. Of that figure, $246 million worth was through direct contracting and $348 million via limited tender. The IC found no evidence that Nubian One Construction was a preferred contractor as it received only 2 contracts during the period. Roberts Risden, who served as permanent secretary since 2015, was reassigned last month to lead Jamaica's farm work program in North America under a 2-year assignment. Dana Davy for Nationwide News.
You're listening to Nationwide News at 5. More news after these.
Value Drug Pharmacy offers curbside pickup and delivery of your branded and generic drugs. WhatsApp your prescription to 876-881-6695. The time by Value Drug Pharmacy is
5:15.
Rentokil Initial is the expert in pest control, air purification, and hygiene services. Call today 876-926-4236.
The temperature by Rentokil is...
It's 34 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 31 in Montego Bay.
Energize your life the right way with DBJ. Yeah, you must can save enough energy solution. Choose one today for your house or your business. Money I go save. Yeah, DBJ. DBJ. Energize your life the right way. The Development Bank of Jamaica Limited is here to help you with the purchase and installation of renewable energy systems to help you save on your energy bill. Contact your business banker or bank today. Energize your business or home the right way with DBJ Energy Loan.
Continuing the news. An elderly man was rescued by the police on Tuesday after being trapped in a ravine in Trelawney for 5 days. The 66-year-old reported that he was picking breadfruit last Thursday when he fell from the tree, injuring his legs and ribs. Head of the Trelawney Police Division, Superintendent Winston Milton, says police personnel were on patrol when they heard the man's distress cries.
Approximately 4:30 p.m. yesterday afternoon, one of our patrols were alerted to a distress cry coming from a bushy section of the refuge district. They responded, followed the sound to the bottom of a ravine where they saw a man, fractured legs, in distress. He told them that he was there since Thursday of last week.
It's understood the police took about 30 minutes to lift the man out of the ravine due to the density of the area. Superintendent Milton says the man remains in hospital in stable condition.
They were able to make a makeshift stretcher, take him up to the roadway where he was transported to the hospital. He is stable. Naturally, being without food and not much water, he said he got water from the rainfall. He would be very weak, but he is stable.
Superintendent Winston Milton, head of the Trelawney Police Division.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
The World in a Minute.
Haiti's government has created a provisional electoral council to prepare the troubled Caribbean country for its first general elections since 2016. The council, long sought by the international community, was created with only 7 of what is supposed to be a 9-member panel. It's not clear when the remaining 2 will be appointed. The council is tasked with organizing the elections and helping to create the legal framework to support it. The previous council was dissolved in September 2021 by then Prime Minister Ariel Henry.
The U.S. Federal Reserve on Wednesday cut its benchmark interest rate by an unusually large half-point. Analysts say it's a dramatic shift after more than 2 years of high rates that helped tame inflation but also made borrowing painfully expensive for American consumers. The rate cut, the Fed's first in more than 4 years, reflects its new focus on bolstering the job market, which has shown clear signs of slowing. The central bank's action lowered its key rate to roughly 4.8, down from a 2-decade high of 5.3, where it had stood for 14 months. According to the Associated Press, the Fed's policymakers have signaled that they expect to cut their key rate by an additional half-point in their final 2 meetings this year in November and December. Further rate cuts are envisioned for 2025 and 2026.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity. Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour, the JLP says the opposition PNP's call for Prime Minister Andrew Holness to resign over the Integrity Commission report into his finances is desperate.
I believe this position taken by the PNP is baseless and without merit. Unlike some individuals in the PNP, the Prime Minister does not hide his assets in trust funds.
And the PNP patriots say yes, he should step down.
Chartered accountant Dennis Chung questions the conclusions of the IC report into the Prime Minister's statutory declarations. I'm Nora Gay Banton.
And I'm Mahiri Stewart.
You can find the news on our website at nationwideradiojm.com and on the Nationwide app available on the Google Play and the Apple App Store. News next, the headlines at 6.
Imagine opening a bank account without ever leaving your home. Well, at CIBC Caribbean, we've changed the game. Open a new CIBC savings or checking account completely online using your computer or phone, anywhere, anytime. No need to visit the bank, no waiting in line. Just apply, verify, and sign your documents, all online. It's secure, seamless, and 100% digital. Open your new CIBC account by applying online today.
Yes, come
Kemlani Mart is making deals.
Really? Deals like what?
On scratch, dented, new furniture and appliances.
Oh, that's great.
And that's not all. Kemlani Mart has tiles, toilets, doors at crazy low prices.
So I can make a deal on a sofa set?
Of course, and dining room sets, outdoor furniture, ACs and more. No reasonable offer will be refused.
Only at Kemlani Mart, Manor Center and 77 King Street.
I love this place, you see.
Motorists, as Minister of Justice, I appeal to you, obey the road code, pay your ticket on time, and only go to court if the ticket is being contested. Close to 80% of matters coming to the parish courts are for traffic breaches. Let's work together to make our roads safe and ease the burden on our courts.
You want to play all your favorite Supreme Ventures games like Cashpot and Lotto in a one place? Plus BetPon Sports with Just Bet and horse racing with MBet? Come take a step in at the new SV Games app. All of the games you love in a one place. Step in and play all your numbers, bet on all your sports and get enough chances to win in the only gaming app you need. SV Games from Supreme Ventures. Visit supremegames.com to download the SV Games app. More ways to bet, more ways to win at your fingertips. Must be 18 years or older to play.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. Defending champions Clarendon College, they were leading Thompson Town 4-0 at sports time in their Issa Da Costa Cup encounter at Foga Road. In other Da Costa Cup latest, Garvey Maceo, they are holding a 6-0 lead over Porus. Denby, they lead Edwin Allen 5-1. Green Pond and St. James are 2-2 at the minute. Dintil, they lead Charlemont by 2-0. Butnut Gallimore trail Ocherias High School 2-0. Titchfield and St. Mary's High, they are 1-1, while William Nib, they lead Discovery Bay by 1-0. Meanwhile, in the Manning Cup latest, Hydel, they are leading Cloncarty by 1-0, and we hope to get the final scores for you, all of the completed games, in our next major sportscast at 6:05. Jamaica's National Women's Football Club champions Fraser's Whip will play their first home game in the CONCACAF Women's Cup in Kingston this evening. They face off with Tigres Femenil of Mexico starting at 7 o'clock. Fraser's Whip's first ever sojourn in the tournament saw their first two games on the road. They suffered heavy defeats in Mexico and Costa Rica, and they're currently at the foot of Group A. English champions Manchester City and their Italian counterparts Inter Milan played out a goalless draw at the Etihad today in the marquee game of the European Champions League. However, the German giants Borussia Dortmund were in spanking form. They blanked Club Brugge 3-0 in Belgium. Jamie Gittins came off the bench to score a double.
Lovely shift of the feet there. Gittins deflected and in. The substitute gets the job done, and Club Brugge pay the price for not taking their chances. Here's Gittins, couple of step overs, and then another. He's turning on the style here.
Elsewhere, Paris Saint-Germain tagged Girona 1-0. Celtic crushed Slovan Bratislava 5-1. Sparta Prague defeated RB Salzburg 3-0. And Shakhtar Donetsk and Bologna played out a goalless draw. Vivienne Miedema netted a debut goal and Jess Park scored twice as Manchester City's women's team brushed off Khadija Shaw's unintended absence to thrash that's Paris FC 5-0 in their season-opening Champions League qualifier in the French capital today. City's hopes of reaching the group stage for the first time in 4 seasons got off to a rocky start when it emerged that Shaw had not obtained the necessary visa to travel for the first leg to Paris, reportedly due to a late application, but things went more smoothly on the field. Miedema, a huge summer signing from rivals Arsenal, took just 36 minutes to open her account for Gareth Taylor's side, and Park added a second 2 minutes later. A big game tonight, a real big game tonight in the Caribbean Premier League CPL. The defending champions, the Ghana Amazon Warriors, will take on the Trinbago Knight Riders, who are back home after spending some time on the road. And this game is going to be at Queen's Park Oval, where else? And it bowls off at 6 o'clock this evening, Jamaica time. Veteran cricket commentator Joseph Retz Pereira is looking forward to this one.
The focus is on TKR against the Amazon Warriors, and the Warriors may not have Shepherd, who's got an injured toe. And Leon Johnson, the manager, said he may play soon. And Tahir has got an arm injury, the bowling hand, and he's been replaced by an Australian who lives in England. And Leon Johnson said that he had 2 good nets and he's not a bad 31-year-old replacement. Sea of Red is expected to be there to back the TKR against the defending champions Guyana Amazon Warriors.
Joseph Reds Pereira. And let's give you 2 results in the Costa Cup. We've been giving you latest scores. We've got 2 results now. Ocherias High School, they beat Abutnut Gallimore by 3-0. And Garvey Maceo, they were 12-1 winners over Porus. So Ocherias High 3, Abutnut Gallimore 0, and Garvey Maceo 12. And the Porus, the 1. Garvey 12-1 over Porus. Finally, in sports at this time, the Wonder Diamond League will increase athletes' prize money to the highest level in the series history come next season. Following a decision by the Diamond League General Assembly on Sunday, the total amount of prize money is paid over to the course of the season will increase to over $9 million in 2025. The new total is almost a third higher than the sum paid during the pandemic-affected period 2021 to 24, and the highest ever since the Diamond League's launch in 2010. Including promotional fees for top athletes, a total of around $18 million will be paid to athletes over the course of the 2025 seasons, with many more millions being invested in athletes' services such as travel and transport, accommodation, medical and physio provision. Under the new structure, the total prize money awarded per meeting will be $500,000 at each of the 14 regular series meetings and $2.2 million at the Wonder Diamond League final. The total prize money per discipline will be between $30,000 and $50,000 at the series meetings and between $60,000 and $100,000 at the Diamond League final. As always, prize money is entirely gender equal with exactly the same rates for male and female athletes. The increase will also apply to all 32 diamond disciplines, benefiting athletes across the full diversity of track and field. The increase in prize money reflects the Wonder Diamond League's position as athletics' premier one-day series and the backbone of the outdoor season for the world's biggest stars. With 15 meetings in 13 countries on 4 continents, the series provides elite athletes from across the world with a chance to compete at the very highest level, and it runs from April to the back end of September. Of course, the Diamond League came to an end last weekend over there in the Belgian capital, Brussels. And that's sports. We're going to be back with more at 6:05.
Since 2016, 156,000 more Jamaicans are working. This is more than any other time in our history. Your government is caring for you. The time brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister is
5:30.
Outperform, outlast. With top performance. Jackhammer. Reliable, full stop, not comma. We have the expertise for drilling and demolition. We have the power tools for plumbers and electrician. Fancy select tools, 3 parts and 3 repairs. 3 parts, 3 repairs. 2 to 3 years. Hilton, available at Delta Supply, 106 Hagley Park Road. Call us at 876-302-6111-4. Delta Supply, we service what we sell.
When I grow up, I'm going to be a famous gamer with viral videos all over the internet. I'm going to be rich. Good thing I'll already know how to take care of my money since Mommy got me this Sure Start account.
Open a CIBC Caribbean Sure Start account for your kids and give them a head start on financial smarts with a $1,200 sign-up bonus from us. We believe in their dreams as much as you do, so let's get them going together. Start young, start strong with Sure Start from CIBC.
the future
future of manufacturing is now. Join the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association, JMEA, in association with VM Group for an unforgettable evening on September 28, 2024 at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel. They're celebrating the industry's brightest minds and the groundbreaking achievements shaping Jamaica's future. Request your tickets at bit.ly/2024 awards tickets or email awards@jmea.org to learn more. Let's witness the future. September 28, 6:30 p.m., the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel.
Attention motorists, it's time to switch to the T-Tag on Highway 2000 East West. Vehicles using the automated T-Tag lane are processed in seconds, so you can pass through the toll plazas far quicker. The T-Tag makes it quicker, more cost-efficient, and safer for our customers. So switch to the T-Tag today and experience the convenience. T-Tag packages are discounted to only $1,500, including a $500 toll credit from now until September 30.
On Thursday, September 19, 2024, tune in to Cliff Hughes Online from 10 a.m. to 12 noon as we live stream a panel discussion on generative AI, impact on misinformation and disinformation, hosted by the Broadcasting Commission of Jamaica in partnership with the UNESCO Cluster Office for the Caribbean and the Jamaica National Commission for UNESCO. This event is being held within the framework of the 5th Global Annual Artificial Intelligence for Information Accessibility AI for IA Conference and seeks to raise awareness about the importance of inclusive access, ethical usage and governance of new and emerging AI systems. It will feature a keynote by Christopher Charles, Professor of Political and Social Psychology in the Department of Government UWI Mona, the launch of the Caribbean AI Roadmap, and a lively panel discussion. Thursday, September 19, Cliff Hughes Online from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. The discussion is generative AI, impact on misinformation and disinformation. All this and more only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by the Broadcasting Commission of Jamaica.
Cover Story is brought to you by Hyundai. Modern, premium, affordable vehicles.
Drive Hyundai. Hyundai vehicles beyond your dreams with an exclusive 4.99% interest rate. Yes! Shop Hyundai vehicles and get a super low 4.99% interest rate on your car loan. Plus 2 years free service, 1 year insurance, and 5 years warranty. Offer valid on all 2024 Hyundai vehicles. Drive your Hyundai with the lowest interest, 4.99%. Conditions apply.
Good afternoon. It's 5:34. You viewers and listeners, welcome to the Cover Story. I'm Siobhan Campbell.
And my name is Sanjay Lewis. How are you, Siobhan?
Doing quite well, Sanjay. It's been quite the political fervor over the last few days. And speaking of political fervor, the long-awaited Integrity Commission report into Prime Minister Andrew Holness's statutory declarations has been tabled in the House of Representatives. The Commission's Director of Corruption Prosecution, Keisha Prince Kamika, has ruled that the Prime Minister should face no charge regarding his uncertified statutory declarations. However, the Commission's Director of Investigations, Kevon Stevenson, has raised concern about Holness's declarations, suggesting he has fallen short of what Stevenson calls the higher duty to the public expected of someone in his esteemed role.
In the meantime, the Integrity Commission wants the Tax Administration of Jamaica, the TAJ, and the Financial Investigations Division, that's the FID, to probe the accounts of companies with ties to Prime Minister Andrew Holness for potential irregularities. The accounts show millions of dollars being transferred between them. The report from the Commission into the Prime Minister's statutory declarations raises several questions about the figures, and the Prime Minister has rejected a conclusion by the Integrity Commission that there was unexplained growth in his net worth for the year 2022.
Holness says the claim that there was an increase of $1.9 million or less than 1% of his total net assets cannot be supported as a material fact. He says in coming to that conclusion, the Integrity Commission relied on incorrect data.
I reject this finding based on materiality and significance. And while I have not had a chance to fully review the specifics of their calculations, just a cursory review of their formula, I have seen an error in figures they have used in their calculation. And therefore, I challenge this finding on incorrect use of data.
The Prime Minister also launched an impassioned defense of his conduct in public office. He says he has always worked hard for all he has achieved.
I don't wear my background as a badge or try to exploit it or exploit my humble beginnings for political sympathy. I don't do it. I don't do it because I believe in working for what you have, regardless of where you come from. And Mr. Speaker, I have worked hard. You know, people just see the achievements. They don't know the hours, the nights, the hard work.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness. He was speaking in the House of Representatives on Tuesday. Well, we're now being joined by two people, political commentator Kevin O'Brien Chang and President of the PNP Patriots, Christopher Henry, to discuss further. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Kevin.
Let's start with you, Kevin O'Brien Chang. Your reaction to what has been revealed from that Integrity Commission report and the political furor that has now been spawned from it. There's the PNP calling for him to step aside and the JLP saying, no way, that's not happening.
Well, the first thing that jumps out to me, the accusation is supposedly illicit enrichment. That's what this whole thing is supposed to be about, I believe. That as a Prime Minister, illicitly enriched himself over this period. The only accusation we have of that, we have a lot of money being shifted back and forth in his different accounts, as many people do, depending on the use. But the bottom line is, has his network changed dramatically? There was 1 year it changed $1.9 million up. Another the year before, 2021, it was $1.1 million down. And the overall change over the 3 years or 2 years was 800,000. That's 5,000 US. And it's amazing that such a furor is made over, I mean, it's not nothing, but it's hardly a gigantic sum of money. And if you say he illicitly enriched himself for 5,000 over 3 years, people say, well, I mean, you know, that's warranting this gigantic furor. But that's the bottom line. The money shifted back and forth means nothing. If you're shifting money between your accounts, but your bottom line doesn't change much, so what? I'm using my money how I need to use it. But it's the same amount of money when it adds up to. And that's what the conclusion of what the report I read.
But outside of that, Kevin, outside of that, the Integrity Commission raised other concerns. They were concerned about the transfer of funds. And one of the holding companies, as they indicated, they questioned how that holding company was able to finance a loan. They also spoke about a bond and issues that they had with the bond. They also raised conflict of interest concerns over Holness and his business partner who chairs UDC and HAJ. So isn't it that there are more things that the Integrity Commission raised, which now has caused them to refer to the FID and the TAJ over those concerns?
Yeah, but I'm saying is the big goal or the big issue here is the illicit enrichment. And I'm saying is the money shifting around is kind of I don't want to call it a smoke screen, red herring. If you're shifting money around in your different accounts, but the bottom line doesn't change, it doesn't mean that much. There's the other question. I'm talking about the big issue of illicit enrichment. And the other big thing that jumped out is the money. They claimed they were well down the road investigations. An account was supposed to be in US dollars, turned out to be in Jamaican dollars. If you look at that, and they said, and they got a forensic accountant from abroad, 36 million was spent, apparently from the records there, and they were well down the road. And this was found to be, this is not US dollars, it's Jamaican dollars, and it seems a lot of the time was spent on that issue. These are the things that jump out at me, right? Mm-hmm. Now, these are the hard, and there's a lot of speculation in there. I'm talking about what we know in hard numbers, okay? That was the first big thing that seemed to have thrown the entire thing off track, because they say it was at a very advanced stage. They found out the account was not in Jamaica, not US dollars, but Jamaican dollars. And of course, that's 150 to 1 difference, right? The other questions raised, yes, there are some questions, but there is nothing there that, you could say is any illegality or anything like that. And the thing about referring to the FID, the question that occurred to me reading it was, hold on a second. The Integrity Commission has been examining this thing for 3 years. They haven't found anything that is this definitive. They got a foreign forensic investigator, spent $36 million for 6 months. What would they expect FID to find that these people have been able to find? And especially, remember, there's a lot of sworn statements in the document, from NCB and stuff. So it's very curious that I spent 3 years investigating. I get a foreign person, $36 million, and then I'm going to send it to the FID to find what? They said at least spread it out. What have they not been able to do that the FID could do? That's a great puzzle to
because again, Kevin, the FID, and I have to stop you there, because the FID is charged with a certain responsibility. They are, in essence, forensic auditors, and the TAJ. Remember, also it was referred to the TAJ for income
already.
Right, but the FID.
Hold on, it's their duty to clarify, in my view, what the FID can do that they haven't been able to do, and the forensic people have been able to do. There's a lot in here. There's a lot in here, which
I'm going to come back to that, Kevin. But let us give
and should have been explained rather than left for the public to speculate. There's too much allowed for speculation here. They should have given more firm details, because I find it a very sloppy report, and it has left too much for speculation. After 3 years, you should have definitive answers on these things, hard facts. Here is why we're sending to the FID, because we haven't been able to find the FID.
But they have stated that in the report, Kevin. But hold on, let's bring in Christopher Henry. Has been on. Christopher Henry, your thoughts on the report that you've seen submitted to the Parliament.
Better yet, Mr. Henry, you have already called for the Prime Minister to resign as the PNP Patriot. So let me put it to you: is that call a bit premature and a little politically expedient, considering where we are currently and on the concerns raised by Mr. Chang?
No, I don't think it's politically expedient or premature. Why would I say that? The Prime Minister holds the highest office in the land. We need an independent investigation. We cannot get an independent or impartial investigation unless the Prime Minister demits office. His office carries within itself a number of privileges attached to it. If he does not step aside, we will never know the gravity of the charges as placed in the Integrity Commission report. 177 pages worth of a number of serious allegations that has led to speculation. And this is why the Integrity Commission has asked the FID to step in. We have a network that has been inexplainably increased by $67.3 million. And we know that the public salary of an individual, of a civil servant, can't give me that level of increase. We have suspicious financial transfers. Where is that money coming from? Yes, I see Kevin trying to rubbish it that it barely is nothing, but there's substantial financial transfers that are being made to and from these accounts. Where exactly is that money coming from? And the real kicker, in our view, the Patriots' view, is the inconclusiveness of the overseas expert. The gentleman was unable to conclude on certain things because, firstly, he wasn't provided with the information by the Prime Minister, as well as he had serious concerns.
Is it that he said that he was unable to conclude, Christopher, or is it that based on what they investigated, he revealed that there was nothing that was untoward?
Before you answer that one, we have to take a break, gentlemen. We'll come right back to that.
Clearing personal, non-commercial shipments at the port? Avoid the wait. Request a contactless clearance through your agent today. It's more efficient. It's secure. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
5:46.
Upgrade your kitchen and bathroom to the next level with Unique Living. They're the ultimate destination for all your kitchen and bathroom needs. From luxurious shower systems to exquisite faucets, vanities, sinks, toilets, closets, and more. They have it all. Visit shop number 6, 30 Dunrobin Avenue, Kingston 10, or call them at 876-755-3661. Elevate your space with Unique Living, where quality meets expectations.
On Sunday, August 11th, in the quiet community of Cherry Tree Lane in Clarendon, our entire nation was shaken by a brutal act of violence.
Gangsters mercilessly took the lives of 8 innocent Jamaicans, including a 7-year-old boy.
These criminals will strike again, destroying more families and more communities unless we stand together to stop them.
If you have any information that can help bring these killers to justice, please share it with the security forces.
The government has established a reward fund of $25 million for information leading to the arrest and charge of the perpetrators who committed this heinous act.
The facilitators who supply them with the arms, intelligence, and the transportation.
And those who harbor and protect these criminals after the crime.
If you know something, say something.
Call Crime Stop at 311-MOCA at 888-6622-847, the NIB at 811, or JDF at 837-8888.
Together,
we will defeat
the gangs
and develop a culture of peace in our country.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Imagine opening a bank account without ever leaving your home. Well, at CIBC Caribbean, we've changed the game. Open a new CIBC savings or checking account completely online using your computer or phone, anywhere, anytime. No need to visit the bank, no waiting in line. Just apply, verify, and sign your documents, all online. It's secure, seamless, and 100% digital. Open your new CIBC account by applying online today.
Welcome to our Active Corner brought to you by Active Home Center. Are you ready to upgrade your bathroom? It's time to choose the perfect toilet for your space. First, consider the size of your bathroom. Measure the space where the toilet will be installed so it fits comfortably. Also, decide if you'd want a standing toilet or one that floats from the wall to suit your style. Did you know toilets can conserve water too? Look for toilets with a green WaterSense label that uses less water when flushing. Also, consider soft close toilet seats that close slowly and quietly. Shop toilets in our showroom today. Tune in at this time for more from Active Home Center.
You want to play all your favorite Supreme Ventures games like Cashpot and Lotto in a one place? Plus BetPon Sports with Just Bet and horse racing with MBet? Come take a step in at the new SV Games app. All of the games you love in a one place. Step in and play all your numbers, bet on all your sports, and get enough chances to win in the only gaming app you need. SV Games from Supreme Ventures. Visit supremegames.com to download the SV Games app. More ways to bet, more ways to win at your fingertips. Must be 18 years or older to play.
Welcome back, listeners and viewers, as we tackle this matter of the Prime Minister's Integrity Commission report on his statutory declarations. We have with us political commentator Kevin O'Brien Chang, president of the PNP Patriots Christopher Henry, and I understand we've also been joined by Cabinet Minister Robert Morgan as well. But before we get to Mr. Morgan, you had a point you wanted to complete, Mr. Henry, regarding the concerns over what was actually kept from, what was actually gleaned from the forensic examiner, the International Forensic Examiner.
It was an inconclusive report. I wouldn't say, as you had said, that it was nothing untoward. It was inconclusive, and because of these inconclusive findings, his filings could not be certified. That is a serious concern, and there are a number of unresolved issues that just could not be resolved. That is something that is a cause for serious concern for us and the nation on a whole.
I want to tackle that. Two things I want to tackle of you, Mr. Henry. First, you said that the Prime Minister must step aside to allow for a transparent investigation. But how realistic is that call? Because even if the Prime Minister steps aside, the person to replace him will be a member of the Jamaica Labour Party, and the Cabinet will still report to that person, and the FID and the TAJ will still report to the Minister of Finance.
Mm-hmm.
So how realistic is a call for the Prime Minister to step aside to allow for a transparent investigation?
The person of concern is the Prime Minister. How our system works is that if the person in particular or in question is at fault, we would expect that his successor would allow the investigation to run its course. While I do agree with you that the Jamaica Labour Party has questions hanging over its head as usual, I would expect...
That's your interpretation of what I said. That's not what I said, but continue.
No, I know that. I would expect that whoever succeeds him in the office or whoever takes over would allow the organs of the state to do its work. So it's not an issue. It should not be an issue that the Prime Minister steps aside to have an impartial investigation. So I don't expect there to be any issue.
And let me break. Before you take over, there's still the matter of the things that were inconclusive based on the international forensic audit. And as I understand it, what was missing to them was a schedule of Mr. Holness's personal expenses. And I have to ask you, how realistic would any Jamaican be able to keep track of their personal expenses over the course of 3 years?
Have you spoken to some accountants? They have kept diaries and journals of personal expenses throughout the years. I can even speak to my partner in my law firm that has a very excellent journal of our personal expenses.
Of your company's personal expenses. Yeah, do you keep track of your personal expenses over a 3-year period?
I actually do, and I have a very comprehensive journal of my personal expenses. So I expect the man who the buck stops with to have that, and worse, he has the assistance of various personal aids, etc., easily can produce year to year a journal of personal expenses.
Mm-hmm. Minister Morgan, the People's National Party says, given the series of events outlined by the Integrity Commission, the Prime Minister should resign. What's your take on the position of the People's National Party?
Based on the history of calling for resignation for pedestrian reasons, I am not surprised that the PNP would call for that. But sensible people like yourself and Jamaicans are able to delve into the meat of the matter and come to conclusions that are not in line with theirs. The argument that the PNP has had for the last 4 years is that, allegedly, Andrew Holness has illicitly enriched himself. Remember, the leader of their party stood on the platform and raised the specter of illicit enrichment on the government on numerous occasions. We now have a report that has not established that the Prime Minister has illicitly enriched himself. So what is their pivot? Oh, the Prime Minister couldn't tell you how many toilet paper he bought last year, because that's personal expense. How much money did he spend on gas? I don't have that data for myself, so if I'm asked that question, I might also be challenged. We brought down a forensic auditor, spent tens of millions of Jamaican dollars, who was not able to find anything to say that the Prime Minister did anything illegal. Inconclusive does not mean guilty. Inconclusive means you did not find any evidence against the person to prove that they're guilty. Third point, they say they want an independent arbiter. Who is more independent than the Integrity Commission? The Integrity Commission is one of the most well-funded anti-corruption entities in the Caribbean. There's no evidence that this government, who, interestingly, passed the law to establish the Integrity Commission, has ever interfered. As a matter of fact, every budget cycle, we increase the budget of the Integrity Commission. They have a role to play in our democracy, and they have been allowed to do their job. They have come out with a report where the person who decides whether or not you should be prosecuted in the Integrity Commission has said, no charge for the Prime Minister. I think fundamentally we must trust the Integrity Commission's decision, because it cannot, on one hand, you're saying, well, you know, he couldn't give his personal expenses, but you ignore the core reasoning, the core conclusion of the Integrity Commission that the Prime Minister has no charge to answer.
But outside of that, though, Minister Morgan, we cannot ignore that they had concerns with the Prime Minister's financial dealings, which is why they are asking for the FID to probe and the tax administration to probe even more. And we understand also that given the gag clause, the Integrity Commission in conducting an investigation cannot give information to the FID or the tax administration until it is submitted to the Parliament.
Have you read the law?
I don't think that's quite how the law works. They can't share the information with the public.
There's a section, hold on.
No. Wait. Let me.
But you made a claim, and I'm challenging your claim.
Go ahead.
There's a section of the law where the Integrity Commission is allowed to collaborate with other state entities.
To what extent,
though? If you look
though?
in the law, they are named. No, if you're going to say to what extent, then you have a different argument. That wasn't
because the law restricts them, Minister. Isn't that the case?
To you, that was not your argument. Your argument was that they were not allowed. And I'm saying to you, the law gives them the authority to engage with the FID, to engage with TAJ. How do you think the Integrity Commission gets the information that they put in report?
All right, so let me put it another way. Then. Fair enough. Based on how the law is set up and given the gag clause that is in place, doesn't that restrict the extent
you're raising
to which
an issue that has nothing to do with the Prime Minister's report?
No, but did the
Integrity Commission say the reason that they're not able to complete everything is because of the gag clause? Did you see that in the report? No, I'm asking a question. You have
Mr. Morgan, we're running out of time, Mr. Morgan. So I want to put it to you. Do you still not
answer the question?
But Mr. Morgan,
let me answer. But because beyond that, they may not necessarily come forward to say the gag order prevents them. But we understand that there are limitations based on Minister. We understand that based on how the law is set up, there are limitations which prevents them as to how far that working relationship can go.
My friend, my core reasoning is this. The reasoning behind your segment today is questioning using the position of the PNP, whether or not there's something for the Prime Minister to resign for. I'm sure I've established that based on what the Integrity Commissioner says, the Prime Minister is not subjected to any criminal charge or anything. The Integrity Commission is free to investigate who they want, even now. So the point I'm making is, if an independent authority like the Integrity Commission has delved into somebody's account with a forensic expert for X amount of years, and they have not come up with anything to charge him for, they have not accused him of illicit enrichment, the Prime Minister's accounts have been vetted, his accounts have been published in the public for everyone to see, and nobody can raise anything about corruption or illicit enrichment. Who are the PNP to be coming and undermining the ruling of the Integrity Commission to say that the Prime Minister is guilty of something he needs to leave?
We're out of time, Mr. Morgan, but I still would like to put it to you. Do you consider the fact, as raised by Kevon Stevenson, that Mr. Holness has what has amounted to hindered their investigation by not providing a schedule of his personal expenses?
The law is very clear, and if you read what the Prime Minister said, the law is very clear as to what are lawful requests of the Integrity Commission, and also what reasonably an individual is obligated. Just as though myself and you, Siobhan, have rights and the Integrity Commission has power, so too does the person who is being investigated. And if the person fulfills his legal requirements, Mr. Stevenson never said the Prime Minister broke the law, you know. Mr. Stevenson said that they couldn't get his personal spending.
But it was asked for.
But did he break the law by not being able to provide it?
Let me ask you this one, though. This one quick one, Minister, before you go. Understanding that the Prime Minister was asked by journalists if he's under investigation for illicit enrichment, and he said he has searched far and wide, and as far as he knows, no one among him, or this is me paraphrasing, they are under investigation. Now we are finding out that he was in fact being investigated. Would you say that the Prime Minister misled the country?
You changed your argument in the middle of your sentence. Initially, you said the Prime Minister said he's not under investigation or he doesn't know anyone under investigation for illicit enrichment. And then in the middle of your sentence, you say the Prime Minister said no one is under investigation. You asked two different questions in one question. The Prime Minister asked his cabinet to ask his colleagues, is there anyone here under investigation for illicit enrichment? No one said they were. The Integrity Commission itself did not say when they were in Parliament that they wrote to persons to say, you are under investigation for illicit enrichment. So how then can you ask a question as to whether the Prime Minister is misleading the country when the said Integrity Commission did not say that they wrote to people to say that they're under investigation for illicit enrichment?
We'll have to leave it there, gentlemen. We're way over time. That is Robert Morgan, Cabinet Minister. We also had with us political commentator Kevin O'Brien Chang and President of the PNP Patriots, Christopher Henry. Thank you all for your time.
Cover Story was brought to you by Hyundai. Modern, premium, affordable vehicles.
The time brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy is
3 minutes after 6.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening with the headlines at 6. I'm Shalois Michael. The governing Jamaica Labour Party, JLP, is rejecting as a desperate a call from the PNP for Prime Minister Andrew Holness to demit office. The JLP maintains that the Integrity Commission report, upon which the PNP premised its call, had found the Prime Minister culpable of no wrongdoing. JLP spokesperson Juliet Cuthbert Flynn is describing the resignation call as unwarranted.
You know, I understand that the PNP out of desperation wants to see the back of the most impactful and, dare I say, positively consequential Prime Minister that Jamaica has seen in recent times. This is a Prime Minister who has skillfully led our country through multiple crises and have not been implicated in unbecoming or any unlawful conduct. I also expect some PNP affiliated groups which position themselves as civil society to shortly echo the same call of the PNP. However, I believe this position taken by the PNP is baseless and without merit. It is important to also note that unlike some individuals in the PNP, the Prime Minister does not hide his assets in trust funds.
Cuthbert Flynn says the IC report does not rise to the level of the 2010 investigation by the Office of the Contractor General OCG into the alleged Daring, Bunting and Golding sweetheart deal.
The investigation found that Peter Bunting and Mark Golding's company arrived at a deal with the then PNP administration, and this involved public funds, which was conducted via an irregular and highly improper process. The fact of the matter is, due to the findings of the OCG probe, which is on the record of the Parliament, it is Peter Bunting and Mark Golding who should immediately step down.
Juliet Cuthbert Flynn, a JLP spokesperson. Meanwhile, President of the PNP Patriots, Christopher Henry, says the IC's report into the Prime Minister's finances creates serious doubts about his commitment to transparency and accountability.
His resignation will pave the way for an impartial investigation, which is needed to bring light to these allegations and to these very doubtful scenarios that have been taking place. And we need the transparency and accountability, hence why he needs to step aside. This is an avalanche of incriminating evidence which paints a chilling picture of deception and corruption at the highest levels of our government.
Mr. Henry says the fact that the Prime Minister's statutory declarations remain uncertified raises significant concerns. He says it would be in the best interest of the country for Prime Minister Holness to step aside.
uncertified statutory declaration. After nearly 2 years, the Prime Minister's statutory declarations are still uncertified. Unexplained wealth. There are suspicious transactions between the various companies and the shell companies as well that have never really made any income but are transferring millions of dollars between one another. The inconclusivity of the overseas expert's financial report, which shows that he can't complete his report because the Prime Minister has hidden behind his omissions and his various discrepancies throughout this matter. These are just a few of the things that is a cause for concern. So we the Patriots are saying, in the best interest of the nation, Prime Minister, step aside now.
Christopher Henry, president of the PNP Patriots. An elderly man was rescued by the police on Tuesday after being trapped in a ravine in Trelawney for 5 days. The 66-year-old reported that he was picking breadfruit last Thursday when he fell from the tree, injuring his legs and ribs. Head of the Trelawney Police Division, Superintendent Winston Milton, says police personnel were on patrol when they heard the man's distress cries.
Approximately 4:30 p.m. yesterday afternoon, one of our patrols were alerted to a distress cry coming from a bushy section of the refuge district. They responded, followed the sound to the bottom of a ravine where they saw a man, fractured legs, in distress. We told them that he was there since Thursday of last week.
It's understood the police took about 30 minutes to lift the man out of the ravine due to the density of the area. Superintendent Milton says the man remains in hospital in stable condition.
They were able to make a makeshift stretcher, take him up to the roadway where he was transported to the hospital. He is stable. Naturally, being without food and not much water, he said he got water from the rainfall. He would be very weak, but he is stable.
Superintendent Winston Milton, head of the Trelawney Division. Commanding officer for the St. Elizabeth Police Division, Superintendent Coleridge Minto, says there has been a reduction in major crimes in the parish.
Since the start of this year, 160 serious and violent crimes has been reported in the division in comparison to the corresponding period last year, 2023, of 248. This is a reduction of 88 or 35% of major crimes year to date. The breakdown of our major crimes: shootings are down by 29%, robberies down by 41%, break-ins down by 46%, rape down by 15%, aggravated assault down by 35%, murders, we're seeing 3 more murders than we had last year, 23 now versus 20 for the corresponding period.
Meanwhile, Superintendent Minto says there's been a 12% decline in road fatalities in the division.
Road fatalities since the start of the year, there have been 20 fatal crashes, which resulted in 23 fatalities when compared to the same period in 2023. 23 fatalities, which resulted in 25 fatalities. Whilst the figures represent a 12% decline in road fatalities, they continue to appeal to the motorists to drive with due care, obey the rules of the road, and particularly for our motorcyclists to ensure that they wear their safety gears.
Superintendent Coleridge Minto, commanding officer for the St. Elizabeth Police Division. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Shalois Michael. Sports is next.
Jamaica is good, yeah. I make we enjoy life, while we feel safe at night.
Yeah, girl. Yo, Martina. Beg your money, no? Jano Star, the thing dismal. It's sticky out in the streets, you know.
Hey, money. But I take that from you right now. But Rashi, you know, I have a way we can make some money quick. Like 100 grand, my girl.
100 grand? Quick and fast? Yo! But hold on there. That not sound straight.
What do you mean by that not sound straight? A straight business me say. And you know that too. And I work from home, my girl. All you need is a phone. I'm send you to lead them. You just have to call me. Easy 1 2 that.
Well, the maths they don't seem so hard at all. I really want to. Alright, me go check my brother and show him the pre. Me call you back later.
Make sure you call me back, you know.
Yeah, girl.
Alright, later.
Yo, sis, what go on?
Good son. Martina show me a pre for make some quick money, you know. All we have to do, I just dial. She will send the leads.
Dial? Sis, you know no sense. Martina chopper, I sink she go sink you. We not do the right thing. You should report her. No have no conversation with no chopper. Just do the right thing.
She am a friend. Oh, you have to say that. Oh, me for do her that. She check for me.
So if she your friend, a prison what that you know, and you can end up dead and get mixed up with the wrong people them. You need to take care of yourself and do the right thing.
Real talk. Me never did a medit so you know. All me I think about is how to make some quick money. Thanks for the guidance. Me I do the right thing and load that out.
I bet you look a real work and do the right thing.
A true man. Me could do the right thing and live good.
Jamaica live good, yeah. I make we enjoy life. What we feel safe at night. Jamaica live good. I bet you and I.
A message from the Ministry of National Security.
When I grow up, I'm going to be a famous gamer with viral videos all over the internet. I'm going to be rich. Good thing I'll already know how to take care of my money since Mommy got me this Sure Start account.
Open a CIBC Caribbean Sure Start account for your kids and give them a head start on financial smarts with a $1,200 sign-up bonus from us. We believe in their dreams as much as you do, so let's get them going together. Start young, start strong with Sure Start from CIBC.
We a big deal when we touch ground. Yeah, I can see when we're pulling up. Anything for the taste what we love. Barbecue, spicy and original, flavorful, crispy, irresistible. 3 piece with the fries and a Pepsi. Bro, get your one big deal, stop stress me. All when we dip on the toilet, no left foot.
Anything for the taste of a juicy, crunchy, irresistible KFC big deal. 3 pieces of delicious chicken, fries and Pepsi. KFC, it's finger licking good.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. Defending champions Clarendon College thumped Thompson Town by 6-0 at Fogo Road today for their 3rd straight victory in this season's Issa Da Costa Cup football competition. In other Da Costa Cup games, Garva Maceo, well, the last score we heard, they were leading Porus by 6-0. Denby, though, they beat Edwin Allen 5-1. Paul Bogle stopped Robert Lightburn 3-1. St. James and Green Pond played out a 3-all draw. Dintil beat Charlemont 6-0. Abutnut Gallimore lost 4-0 to Ocherreas High. Titchfield and St. Mary High, they were 1-1, while William Knibb, they were leading Discover Bay 1-0 the last time we heard. Jamaica's National Women's Football Club champions Fraser's Whip will play their first home game in the CONCACAF Women's Champions Cup in Kingston this evening. They face off with Tigres Femenil of Mexico starting at 7 o'clock. Fraser's Whip's first ever sojourn in the tournament, so their first 2 games on the road, they suffered heavy defeats in Mexico and Costa Rica, and they're currently at the bottom of Group A. English champions Manchester City and their Italian counterparts Inter Milan played out a goalless draw at the Etihad today in the marquee game of the European Champions League. However, German giants Borussia Dortmund were in spanking form. They blanked Club Brugge by 3-0 in Belgium, with Jamie Gittens coming off the bench to score a double.
Lovely shift of the feet there. Gittens deflected and in. The substitute gets the job done, and Club Brugge pay the price for not taking their chances. Here's Gittens, couple of step overs, and then another. He's turning on the style here.
Elsewhere, Paris Saint-Germain tagged Girona 1-0. Celtic crushed Slovan Bratislava 5-1. Sparta Prague defeated RB Salzburg by 3-0, and the Shakhtar Donetsk and Bologna played out a goalless draw. Vivian Miedema netted a debut goal and Jess Park scored twice as Manchester City's women's team brushed off Khadija Shaw's unintended absence to thrash Paris FC 5-0 in their season-opening Champions League qualifier. City's hopes of reaching the group stage for the first time in 4 seasons got off to a rocky start when it emerged that Shaw had not obtained the necessary visa to travel for the first leg, reportedly due to a late application, but things went well on the field. Miedema, a huge summer signing from rivals Arsenal, took just 36 minutes to open her account for Gareth Taylor's side, and Park added a second 2 minutes later. Ornette Gardens will be seeking the first win of the 2024-25 CFU Club competition when they play away to Police FC at the Hazley Crawford Stadium in Trinidad and Tobago tomorrow. Meanwhile, another Jamaican club, Cavalier, remain at the top of Group A despite losing 2-1 against Real Hope from Haiti at the National Stadium last night. Dwayne Busy Atkinson gave Cavalier the lead on minute 5, but substitute Rincanel Cherie, he drew Real Hope a lifeline on the hour mark with an equalizer, and then Real Hope then completed the comeback in the 64th minute thanks to another substitute, Steve Modestine, who converted from the spot.
And immediately Cavalier are in behind. Lovely cutback. Great play as well to find the opening goal for Atkinson. How unselfish was that? Next to no time. Stein does everything right. He cuts it back, lays it off. Goalkeeper's beaten. And it is a lovely finish from Dwayne Atkinson. His 3rd goal of the tournament. Steve Modestine. It's helped along. Could be the equalizer. It's in. It's the substitute. Harry Louis' substitute comes up huge. Modestine was just destined to score. Real Hope have next to no time here in the second half, but you can't say that they don't deserve it.
Champions, the Guyana Amazon Warriors were 24 for 1 after 3 overs and 4 balls against the Trinbago Knight Riders in their big Caribbean Premier League showdown at the Queen's Park Oval in Port of Spain. The home team won the toss and decided to field. And finally, in sports at this time, Trinidad and Tobago under 16 and under 18 netball teams are in Jamaica for the Island Vibes tournament at the Stadium Course, September 20 to 22. Jamaica's national under 16 team will play their counterparts from Trinidad and Tobago in a 2-match series. Meanwhile, the Trinidad and Tobago under 18 team will play a 2-match series against the Denby High School, the winners of the recent Youth Summer Invitational and first holders of the Marva Bernard Trophy. President of the TNT Netball Association, Sherry and Blackburn, says the association is focused on youth development.
We want to identify talent, and by doing that, we want to expose our youngsters with a high-level competition with Jamaica, which is a strong netballing nation. And this, we are hoping that will allow our players to improve their skills and strategies and help them to own and hone their experience. We want to also see not just our athletes, but our coaches also improve through the experience. With this collaboration, we are hoping that as we collaborate with Jamaica, our coaches can provide insight into different coaching methodologies.
Trinidad and Tobago is the only Caribbean country to lift the World Cup trophy when they shared the title with Australia and New Zealand in 1979, and Blackburn says this is part of their quest to return to the pinnacle of world netball.
They are the future Calypso girls, and therefore that's why we're investing in them at this time. We want to, at some time in the future, regain that World Cup title, but it has to start somewhere. And there was a time when Trinidad and Tobago was dominant in the region and others learned from us. It's our time to learn from Jamaica, who is dominant in the region and has been for a number of years. And therefore, we are here to learn.
Sherry and Blackburn, that's sports.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
6:20.
Here's to the early risers, and we are here all-nighters. The go the extra milers, and let's do it until it works. Workers. People who are powerful because they power through. Day after day, challenge after challenge. You see, true power, it's not something you can buy or collect. It is something that starts on the inside, and you always know it when you see it. Sunshine Snack Peanuts, proud supporters of the powerful.
Yes, Kemlani Mart is making deals.
Really? Deals like what?
On scratch, dented, new furniture and appliances.
Oh, that's great.
And that's not all. Kemlani Mart has tiles, toilets, doors at crazy low prices.
So I can make a deal on a sofa set?
Of course, and dining room sets, outdoor furniture, ACs and more. No reasonable offer will be refused.
Only at Kemlani Mart, Manor Center and 77 King Street.
I love this place, you see.
Energize your life the right way with DBJ. Yeah, you must can save enough energy solution. Choose one today for your house or your business. Money I go save.
Yeah, DBJ.
DBJ. Energize your life the right way. The Development Bank of Jamaica Limited is here to help you with the purchase and installation of renewable energy systems to help you save on your energy bill. Contact your business banker or bank today. Energize your business or home the right way with DBJ Energy Loan.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Hello and welcome to Public Opinion. I'm Mahiri Stewart. Special good evening to our YouTubers. We invite you to weigh in live on today's Public Opinion. It's been a while since I've done this, hasn't it? It's been a while, but we are back. Before we even start, make sure to like the live. I remember one time I did this. I told y'all to like the live and the likes skyrocketed. So hopefully if I do it today as well, it will work out. But we're going to be talking about the Integrity Commission today. Specifically, the report on the Prime Minister's statutory declarations. That's going to form the basis of today's Public Opinion. But let me give you a little backstory before we get into it. Director of Corruption Prosecution for the Integrity Commission, Keisha Prince Kamika, has delivered her ruling that Prime Minister Andrew Holness faces no charges regarding his statutory declarations. Yet, the Commission's own Director of Investigations, Kevon Stevenson, has come forward with alarming concerns about Holness's declarations, suggesting he has fallen short of the moral standards expected of someone in his esteemed role. The Integrity Commission is also calling on Tax Administration Jamaica and the Financial Investigations Division, FID, to probe the accounts of companies with ties to Prime Minister Holness for potential irregularities. Those accounts show millions of dollars being transferred between them. Now, 24 hours after the tabling of yesterday's special investigation report into whether Andrew Holness had illicitly enriched himself, a full-blown political row has erupted due to this, right? This morning, the opposition PNP pounced on the matter by calling for the Prime Minister to leave the office immediately. However, this afternoon, the governing Jamaica Labour Party responded to the PNP and rejected the call, calling it desperate. So now, it's time for you to give your opinion. In Public Opinion today, we ask, what's your take on the report of the PM's statutory declarations? That's the Prime Minister, right? Let's take a look at what we have on X, formerly known as Twitter. DSB kicks us off. They say, it seems very much like a witch hunt. Seems the Integrity Commission went in with a perception and trying to prove that the perception is indeed facts. Might be Andrew Holness today, but we have to ask, is that the way we want such an important entity to operate? Raquan Studios says, if the IC didn't even think to dig deeper... Well, actually, no, never mind. Hold on, we keep going. Live and Let Live says, it's a witch hunt. Where is the report from the forensic expert if there was even one done? Who got that money? Why didn't they refer him to be prosecuted for that? All right. How many of these can I actually read without getting into problems? Because it's quite a heated comment section, yeah? Denise McKenzie says the Integrity Commission needs to certify the Prime Minister's declaration. Keep going. Donald Martin says, okay, fair game is perusing both leaders with the same vigor. This is not looking good on the IC. What else we have here? Daryl Nick says, a witch hunt, and Jamaica is even more convinced that... Oh, I don't know if I can read that one. Oh, So it's a heated comment section, man. Heated comment section. Mr. Dweet Nice says it's a blatant attempt to discredit the Prime Minister. The investigation ended when the Director of Prosecution found nothing to charge the PM. Why are they going further with this witch hunt? It must end now. So that seems to be the basis by which everyone is, well, I shouldn't say everyone, yeah, but that seems to be what majority of the people in the X comment section are saying. They're calling it a witch hunt, yeah? So that's what we have in X so far. Don't think I'm trying to censor anybody here, but there's some comments here I just can't read on air, unfortunately. But we go over to Instagram. Let's see if we have some readable comments here. We have a lot of comments here. Love to see it. All right, how many of these can I read? Let's start with Chris Duncan 758. The IC prosecutor ruled that there are not charges identified. After extensive auditing by overseas forensic auditors, nothing was unearthed. To now sending it to FID is a total overreach. All right. What else do we have here? Dan Gabby says, we can't have a leader who sets up companies to avoid tax, cannot have a leadership where his extraordinary wealth is still unexplained and, according to the IC, quote, far outweighs his legal earnings. We cannot have a leader who fought tooth and nail to prevent a country from knowing what's going on. To be a successful country, corruption cannot exist at the helm and heart of our democracy. So that's Dan Gabby 1. We keep going on. What else here can I read that isn't defamatory and won't get us into problems on either side? Right? Shambhala says he should resign ASAP. If you can't explain your wealth, you should not be a politician. His wealth and versus previous pay and appointments are not mathing. Cleon Spence says the PM is clean. Yeah? It's Me Jules says the PM is clean and will not be distracted by the PNP. 40-ish Fine says he needs to resign. He's tainted, lacks integrity, and is hiding money. Who has 28 bank accounts and why? What else do we have here? How many of these are left? Fitzroy MO8 says witch hunt. Shower Chuck 34 says waste of public funds. What else do we have here? Ava Mackenzie says they found nothing. All right. So that's Instagram. We're going to try and go on Facebook real quick, and then we go over to the YouTubers. Losing my voice for some reason. Hope it comes back. Where is the... Here we are. 30 comments on Facebook. How many of these can I read? Hallan Rawlings says, can I read this one? I hope the PNP reads the comments on this and other political issues and uses them to rate themselves among the Jamaican people. Anthony Sheikh says, the IC should also publish the findings of the International Forensic Auditor so that Jamaicans can judge for themselves. Why are they hiding it? Cheryl Griffiths asks, who is going to investigate the Integrity Commission? What else do we got here? Arlene Kelly says, it's all a political witch hunt, but I'm standing with the PM. Let's keep going. That's a no-brainer, says Parchment. He has 3 companies, 28 bank accounts, and earned a PhD. Oh, yeah, and moonlights as Prime Minister. You think he's a superhuman? All right, what else we have here? How many of these can I read? Sean Chung says the IC has yet to show that the PM used public resources for his personal gain. It is clear this is nothing more than a witch hunt. All right. So let's see what we have here in the YouTube chat. Erica Bennett says flu bug is in the NNN office. You might be onto something, you know, Erica. I felt horrible yesterday, but today I actually feel a lot better. And no Juliet Sanchez. I did not cut my hair. It's still here. It's probably just the way you're looking at me. It's probably just the angle. Don't worry. But let's read the public opinions. Yes. Let me scroll through and see how many of these I can read. Furtis, I hear you, Furtis. All right. Let's see. Can I actually? Come on, let me see what I can read here. Guys, make sure you. Okay, so now we're seeing witch hunt. I'm seeing witch hunt spammed in the comment section by Verley Green and Everton Williams. This is the first two I've seen so far. Iona Davis says the PM is clean and decent, no illicit enrichment, and must be certified. End it now. All right, let's keep going. Country says all this is downright politics. All right. Tedris says, for those who keep calling it a witch hunt, have they considered that Mr. Wholeness could be a witch? Political analyst says, who investigates the Integrity Commission? Kirkland Nelson says, stay focused PM, PNP grabbing at straws. What else do we have here? Marcia Favor says, witch hunt, Everton's back. He says, witch hunt again. No, I'm not going to read that one, It's a bit defamatory, I fear. But yeah, man, very, very vibrant, very energized comment section. So much so that I had to gloss over a lot of these because I don't know the legal ramifications that we could be faced with were I to read some of these comments. But we have seen differing opinions on this. Luckily, I was able to find enough that showed different signs. Yeah, there's a good amount of people, as you've seen in the comments, saying it's a witch hunt, right? But there's another group of folks that believe that something is up. But yeah, man, that's what public opinion is for, right? It's to voice your opinions, and some opinions have been voiced. I was able to read some of them, not all, but it was another good segment, as it always tends to be here on Nationwide 90 FM. As always, I'm Mahiri Stewart. Remember to like the video and make sure you're liking it as we transition into the business report. Let's go.
Public Opinion was brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, industrial automation and control solutions.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is...
It is 6:33. Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Business Report here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Mahiri Stewart. Epley Limited, a leading Caribbean investment company, says it has acquired a significant stake in the Epley Caribbean Property Fund Limited SCC Value Fund, ECPF. The share purchases constitute approximately 18.7% of ECPF's outstanding shares. Epley Limited says the share purchases were conducted on the Jamaica Stock Exchange and the Barbados Stock Exchange on September 13, 2024. It was conducted by Epley Fund Managers Limited, EFM, a wholly owned subsidiary of Epley Limited. ECPF is the largest listed real estate mutual fund in the Caribbean. ECPF owns 39 properties comprising 1.2 million square feet across Jamaica, Barbados, Trinidad, and St. Vincent. Epley already manages and controls ECPF through its subsidiary, EFM, by owning 100% of its common shares. However, following the share purchases, Epley says it will also become the largest shareholder of ECPF's listed shares. Boeing is suspending the jobs of tens of thousands of staff in the U.S. in response to a strike that has shut down production of some of its airplanes. Now, the aerospace giant said U.S.-based executives, managers, and staff would be asked to take 1 week of furlough every 4 weeks as long as the standoff lasts. More than 30,000 factory workers in the northwest of the U.S. went on strike on Friday over pay and retirement packages. Government officials are now helping to mediate talks between the two sides. The work stoppage threatens to cost Boeing billions of dollars, deepening the crisis at a company already facing significant challenges. Its impacts are already being felt across the industry and wider U.S. economy as the firm asks suppliers to halt shipments of most parts and takes other steps to save money. Chief Executive Kelly Ortberg, who started in the job just last month, said executives were trying to reach a new agreement as soon as possible. The strike is the first at Boeing since 2008. Workers had rejected an offer that promised a 25% pay increase over 4 years and improvements to terms and conditions. The deal, described by Boeing as historic, was recommended to the workforce by union leaders, but overwhelmingly voted down by employees. And in the currency markets, it cost 157 Jamaican dollars and 14 cents to buy $1 US. It cost 205 Jamaican dollars and 59 cents to buy £1 and 116 Jamaican dollars and 24 cents to buy $1 Canadian. That's the business report. I'm Mahiri Stewart. Make sure you like the live and see you when I see you.
Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited are authorized distributors of international brands ABB, Omron, STC, Festo, and Thomas & Betts. They supply programmable logic controllers, photoelectric and proximity sensors, contactors and soft starters, power supplies, variable frequency drives, and much more. Visit them at 24 Dunrobin Avenue, Kingston, or shop 32 Overton Plaza, 46 Union Street, Montego Bay, or visit their website cleasling.net. Cleasing Industrial Supplies for all your industrial automation and control solutions.
When I grow up, I'm going to be a famous gamer with viral videos all over the internet. I'm going to be rich. Good thing I'll already know how to take care of my money since Mommy got me this Sure Start account.
Open a CIBC Caribbean Sure Start account for your kids and give them a head start on financial smarts with a $1,200 sign-up bonus from us. We believe in their dreams as much as you do, so let's get them going together. Start young, start strong with Sure Start from CIBC.
On Thursday, September 19, 2024, tune in to Cliff Hughes Online from 10 a.m. to 12 noon as we live stream a panel discussion on generative AI, impact on misinformation and disinformation, hosted by the Broadcasting Commission of Jamaica in partnership with the UNESCO Cluster Office for the Caribbean and the Jamaica National Commission for UNESCO. This event is being held within the framework of the 5th Global Annual Artificial Intelligence for Information Accessibility AI for IA Conference and seeks to raise awareness about the importance of inclusive access, ethical usage and governance of new and emerging AI systems. It will feature a keynote by Christopher Charles, Professor of Political and Social Psychology in the Department of Government UWI Mona, the launch of the Caribbean AI Roadmap, and a lively panel discussion. Thursday, September 19, Cliff Hughes Online from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. The discussion is generative AI, impact on misinformation and disinformation. All this and more only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by the Broadcasting Commission of Jamaica.
Taboo topics, bulletins after dark,
riveting discussions,
celebrity news and interviews,
topics that are shunned by society,
and everything else in between.
Boyatings After Dark with Kareem Boyatings each and every Wednesday, 8 to 11 p.m.
Boyatings After Dark.
No topic is too taboo or hard to discuss. Come get your mind blown and your curiosity explored.
Boyatings After Dark.
On Thursday, September 19, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., Cliff Hughes Online will be hosting a special live stream panel discussion on generative AI, the impacts on misinformation and disinformation. As a result, regular programming will be interrupted to accommodate this important event. Please note that the Consumer Hour will not be aired and Cliff Hughes Online will begin at 9 a.m. with Cliff Says before the panel discussion starts. Nationwide 90 FM apologizes for any inconvenience this may cause and encourages you to stay tuned for what promises to be a highly informative discussion. Thank you for your understanding.
Nation's Business is brought to you by BH Paints. Paint it, love it with BH Paints.
Good evening. It's 6:40, listeners and viewers, and it's time for the Nation's Business. I'm Siobhan Campbell.
And I am Sanjay Lewis.
Good to see you again, Sanjay.
Yep. Well, the Education Minister, Favour Williams, says students who sat the primary exit profile PEP examinations in grade 5 this year performed significantly better than they did in the grade 4 exam.
Today, we released the PEP 5 results to regions and to their schools. I'm happy to report that those children who took PEP 4 last year have done noticeably better at PEP 5. In language arts, approximately 68% of students achieved proficiency or higher, a substantial increase from 48% who sat PEP in 2023. And in mathematics, 47% of students achieved proficiency or higher, a notable rise from the 25% proficiency rate in 2023 for those who sat PEP 4.
PEP is administered over 3 years starting in grade 4. The result for each year is averaged for a composite score at the end of grade 6. But concern has resurfaced in recent times about the complexity of the exam and the toll it takes on students. But Minister Williams says the 3-year assessment has been successful in strengthening the overall performance of children.
It is a strong signal that we will see even better results for PEP 6 in 2025. That was the purpose of having the PEP exams over 3 years, so that we begin to develop a profile for each student and can use the time between assessments to work with students and strengthen their understanding of fundamental skills. Mr. Speaker, that strategy is bearing fruit.
And that's Favour Williams, Minister of Education. The minister was speaking during Tuesday's sitting in the House of Representatives. We're now being joined by the minister's Chief Education Officer, Terry-Ann Thomas Gale. Good evening, and thank you for joining us.
Good evening, Siobhan and Sanjay. Good evening, listeners.
Wonderful. So talk to me now. What has been the overall impression of this year's PEP results when you compare it to last year?
Well, we had, as the minister had said, we have seen improvement in all subject areas when compared to the students' performance last year. The improvement, and I want to congratulate our students, our teachers, our parents, and our educators as a whole for the work that we have done throughout the year with our students, and subsequently we are now seeing the results of hard work. There was increased performance in language in the 4 core areas: language arts, mathematics, and science. For language arts, for example, in 2023, we had for proficient, between proficient and highly proficient, we had a 48.5. This year, we're seeing a 67.6% students, 67.6% of our students had a proficient or highly proficient, and that's a great improvement in language arts. So mathematics, for example, we're seeing where our students in 2023 rather, for proficient and highly proficient, we had a 25%. This year we're seeing a 46.7% for mathematics. Science, we're seeing a similar increase where the students for science performed even comparative when compared to the other subject areas.
And what do you think may have contributed to this? Is it that because of COVID, you may have had a dip in the performance, and now we're seeing a rebound?
There are several factors that could have contributed to the performance last year, but the ministry and our schools on a whole have been very deliberate as it relates to students' performance and how it is that we're driving in performance of our students across the subject areas, across all grade levels. And so we would have targeted our students through interventions, the regions through our coaches and our literacy coordinators. We looked at the PEP 5 data last year we saw the areas in which the students did not perform, and we were very targeted in our workshops, our training, in our coaching methods at the school level on how it is that we develop the competence in our teachers in delivering the national standards curriculum for these areas. We also looked at these students' performance at grade 4 and schools that showed signs where there were some struggles in how the students were performing. We had targeted interventions where we focused on the areas and we developed the skill set in our students, in our teachers to deliver the national standards curriculum. What we're also finding, and over time, you did say though, we saw through COVID where the curriculum, we had a break in our curriculum implementation, and what we're actually reaping now is the true fruit of what the national standards curriculum is capable of delivering. It's not only delivering content in isolation from skills development, and we're seeing the students demonstrating knowledge of these skills. So our curriculum is being implemented. We can conclude that because of how the students are performing. So our teachers continue to strive, our teachers continue to improve in their craft, and over time I can assure you, you will be seeing much more improvement because this curriculum is being implemented. Our leaders in our schools are indeed leading the instructional delivery at the school level, and we're seeing that.
So, Mrs. Thomas Gale, in your assessment, is the primary exit profile serving its purpose in terms of assisting to better develop the students to matriculate to secondary education?
It is meeting the needs of the national standards curriculum. I will say that. And the national standards curriculum is developing that 21st century student. The primary exit profile is actually just measuring the extent to which these skills are being delivered. And what we are doing, unlike the other assessment we had, which was GSAT, in the primary exit profile, as our minister alluded in her speech in Parliament, we're able to see how our students are performing over a longer period. So we can make reliable claims on how our students are improving across these subject areas. No longer are we given a one-shot exam where you either do well or you don't. We can see how you perform at grade 4. The schools can put measures in place to improve on the areas of weaknesses and strengthen those areas that we see where you're doing well to make it even stronger. So we have different points in a child's education at the primary level where we can intervene where there are gaps, and where we see successes we can enhance. And that's the luxury of the primary exit profile. We are measuring the students over a longer period of time instead of a one shot. And that must be the best method of assessing our students.
Which leads me to my next question, because on the flip side, some have expressed concerns about that and how complex the exams or over the period of time can be and the impact that it may have on students. Is this a complaint that you have received from the ministry from standpoint, and how have you been addressing that?
We have received those complaints. We had received those complaints with GSAT, thus having us gone into the whole review of the curriculum, the revised primary curriculum, which gave us the national standards curriculum, which in turn gave us the primary exit profile. The complaints will continue. All assessments, you have that level of anxiety when students sit any test. The questions we should ask as well, colleagues, is it the test itself or just the whole idea of exams? And one of the methods that the ministry will use this year is, while we develop the competence in our teachers to deliver the national standards curriculum, we will also be helping our teachers to alleviate those fears that the students take into doing the exam. So we're looking at the test-taking skills, how is it that students respond in exam? Because it is true, anxiety in any exam, regardless whether it's the primary exit profile or another exam, anxiety will be present. And so we have to now develop in our students that confidence when they approach an exam. The primary exit profile is based on the curriculum, as I say. It is developed by our teachers. The test items are written by our teachers. These test items are piloted in our schools. They go through the rigor of all national, all international assessment. So it can stand up to any scrutiny in the test. And it is indeed measuring reliably what it is that our students are achieving after being exposed to the national standards curriculum.
But certainly, Mrs. Thomas Gale, there is a system of review based on the feedback received. How do you go about that then in assessing that feedback and incorporating it into adjusting the primary exit profile to be better suited?
The reviews are welcomed. A review is required after a certain number of years in implementing a curriculum. The curriculum needs to be reviewed. But in Jamaica context, I want us to remember that the curriculum has not gotten enough opportunity to be exposed. We have not had a cohort that exit the primary level that would have been exposed to all years, 5 years, 6 years rather, at the primary school, being exposed to the nationals, a full gamut of the national standards curriculum, because we had the pandemic. While it's up for review, the assessment will change based on the outcome of the review. Based on the outcome of the review, it will impact the assessment. So, yes, a review is eminent in all curriculum implementation. It's part of the process of curriculum implementation for there to be a review. And the review will see, if needed, a change in the assessment. There's a process that we must follow, and that's the process we had followed when the national standards curriculum was implemented and the test was being designed. We had our consultation with our major stakeholders. We went across the entire island, and it was proposed how the assessment will be, and parents and students and our leaders got an opportunity to let their voice be heard, and that's the outcome of what we're seeing now, how it is that the test is being laid out, how it is administered, and so forth. So it requires consultation, and that will happen. So the review will see us having another round of consultation and coming up with a conclusion.
And what about the challenges that students face when they are preparing for the PEP examinations? Have you been able to get the views of the students and maybe the parents who, help with the preparation and also the teachers?
I will tell you this much. The cry, in my opinion, and based on the persons who I would have interviewed when there is such a situation, the cries usually come from our parents mainly. And we understand why. Siobhan and Sanjay, our parents are anxious. They want the best for their children. Our students, once they're being exposed to the curriculum, they are confident enough, and we're seeing that in their results. We saw it at grade 5. We saw it at grade 6, and I can assure you we will see this at grade 2. Our students are resilient once it is that they are exposed, once it is that they are taught the content, because we can only test what is in the curriculum. And as I said before, our teachers are proving more and more that they are handling the curriculum, they are capable of delivering the curriculum, and they're capable of delivering and developing the skills that are in the national standards curriculum. Once that is done, we will not have a cry. The cry usually, and the loudest cry, comes from our parents, and we understand why. Our students, most times when you see them come out of the exam, they tell you how easy it was and how it wasn't as hard as they thought. And our students, the fear that our students display usually as a result of exposure, the fear that is within their environment. We need to ensure that the conversation we have around our students sitting these exams are conversations that will develop their confidence, one, and conversation that will take them into the content, having the students demonstrating what they know. That's what the the primary exit profile is about. That's what the national standards curriculum is about. It's no longer regurgitated knowledge, information, but more than just that. They need to be able to demonstrate, show how, what they can do with the knowledge that they have. And with the thrust of the ministry and the country on a whole, with STEM and the STEAM integration and the STEAM initiative, it requires our students to demonstrate the skill set, to use the knowledge that they have to solve real world problems. And that's what the National Standards Curriculum is about, and that's what PEP is assessing.
Mrs. Thomas Gale, give me just a quick refresher. When did we start the PEP assessment, and when was the first cohort, and when did the first cohort rather enter the secondary education system?
Okay, so we had our first assessment in 2019. So the first cohort entered the secondary system in 2019, and they sat only the grade 6 component. So the students who sat all 3 years, this year is the first year we had those students. The 2024 students are the first one that sat grade 4, grade 5, and grade 6.
So we should not, those students will not be sitting, say, CSEC or whatever form of examinations take for at least another half decade.
Yeah, yes.
And based on that, now, do you anticipate that the PEP result, well, the PEP, the primary exit profile and the national standards curriculum, we shall start seeing those improvements translating from the primary level into the secondary level as those students head on to their secondary examinations?
And I will say yes, but there's a lot that we still need to do, in that we have to help our students transition from the primary to the secondary level, in that it's a change. It's a big difference entering high school. And so the support that our parents give to their children at the primary level, we in order for us to see the results, we need the same support going through high school. Bridging that gap between secondary and high school requires our leaders at our high school to be cognizant of that. And I can assure you our leaders at our secondary level, they are ready and they're raring to go, and they understand what the primary exit profile is about. They understand what they need to do in order to continue the learning. I want to point out as well that the National Standards Curriculum goes up to grade 9. So students entering grade 7, the skills development continues across right up to grade 9, and our National Standards Curriculum is spiral. And so the development at the grade 6 level continue in the same subject areas continues at grade 6, grade 7, but becoming a little bit more difficult because of the age and stage of our students. So we should be seeing the same level of performance. The ministry is very deliberate as well in giving the high schools, our high schools, the same amount of support we give our primary level institution as it relates to intervention, as it relates to looking at the data after assessment and seeing how it is that our students perform and putting the necessary measures in place to help to develop in areas of weaknesses and strengthen those areas of strength. Once we do that at the secondary level, we will see the improvement across all subject areas. But it cannot be done in isolation of our parents giving that support. The society on a whole, we need corporate Jamaica, we need everyone to play their part in giving the support of our students at a different level as it relates. If you're capable, Sanjay, Chevron, if you're so equipped and able to give an hour of teaching to our students, especially across these areas, the mathematics and the language arts, you can volunteer, give the support. So we want corporate Jamaica to take hold, to hold and to be responsible for the education of our youth. It is not just up to the Minister of Education and our schools, but everyone needs to play their part in order for us to reap the results that we are seeing at grade 6. It has to continue to be a community effort. The community that exists at primary school around these children, we need the same community at our high school to help them transition through high school as we did at the primary level.
It'll be very interesting to see when these students, the full cohort now, because they would have gone through the 3-year program in a sense, when they reach the CXC level, to see the difference when compared to those who would not have gone through that process. It's an interesting concept. And it's something that we really need in the system, but I would really like to see the results, as Siobhan indicated, after these students would have gone through the CXC or whatever they do at grade 5th form.
Yes, and as you're aware, the ministry is going through a period of transformation, and transformation requires us to not only wait on the end product of our system to see the results, but to put mechanisms in place to build the confidence, the competence of our teachers at all levels, where those are pre-service and those who are in service. And that's another thrust of the ministry, to build these competence in these core subject areas, so as to ensure that we retain the level of competencies in our teachers to be able to deliver the curriculum. And we have to, in order for all this to work, Sanjay and Siobhan, we have to put a mechanism of monitoring. We need to monitor more what's happening and use the data to inform the decisions we're making for the interest of our students.
Terry-Ann Thomas Gale, the ministry's Chief Education Officer, thank you so much for your time this afternoon.
It was my pleasure sitting here with you. Have a good evening, everyone.
Have a good evening.
Too. We're up on the break. Let's take the break. More when we come back.
Nation's Business was brought to you by BH Paints. Paint it, love it with BH Paints.
Hey, did you know that the Jamaica Stock Exchange has a loyalty program?
No, what at?
Well, as a JSE Loyalty Club member, you are now able to earn rewards when you shop at any of the participating merchants island-wide.
But I don't own any stocks and I'm not a member.
No problem, man. Join the program by downloading the JSE Loyalty app, activate your account, and start racking up points with every purchase. Redeem points for goods and services at any participating merchant, or choose to convert them into stocks.
So what if I already have stocks?
That's even better. It means that you are pre-enrolled on the program. You only need to download the app and activate. Start your portfolio, grow your portfolio, join our loyalty program, and earn, save, or invest. The Jamaica Stock Exchange, where loyalty builds financial performance.
Drive Hyundai vehicles beyond your dreams with an exclusive 4.99% interest rate. Yes! Shop Hyundai vehicles and get a super low 4.99% interest rate on your car loan. Plus 2 years free service, 1 year insurance, and 5 years warranty. Offer valid on all 2024 Hyundai vehicles. Drive your Hyundai with the lowest interest, 4.99%. Conditions apply.
Imagine opening a bank account without ever leaving your home. Well, at CIBC Caribbean, we've changed the game. Open a new CIBC savings or checking account completely online using your computer or phone, anywhere, anytime. No need to visit the bank, no waiting in line. Just apply, verify, and sign your documents, all online. It's secure, seamless, and 100% digital. Open your new CIBC account by applying online today.
It's 7:04 and we're now into the third and final hour, and we will be turning to the region over in Trinidad and Tobago, where the health minister, that's Terence Dayal Singh, was robbed on Tuesday afternoon while speaking with a constituent. Dayal Singh is the member of parliament for the constituency of St. Joseph. In a video posted on social media after the incident, Dayal Singh is seen speaking with the police.
Shortly after, he's seen and heard talking on the phone to someone who appears to be a ministerial colleague. Dayal Singh is heard saying, "Minister, so I am in St. Joseph in my constituency at 5 o'clock. Hot sun, bright sun, sitting outside a bar opposite the church with a constituent. Two fellows walk up to me, put a gun to my head and robbed me of my bracelet. Just letting you know where crime has reached." It's unclear who was the cabinet minister on the other end of the line with Minister Dale Singh. So therefore, we're now joined by Trinidad's Minister of National Security, Fitzgerald Hinds. Good evening, Minister Hinds.
A very good evening to you. A very good evening to you and your listeners across Jamaica and the world.
Mm-hmm. Firstly, let me start by asking, how is Minister Dale Singh doing following this robbery today?
Well, I've had the benefit of speaking with him since that, and he appears quite calm, quite cool, quite settled, and most of all, thankful that the horrific event that he experienced did not yield worse and more detrimental results. So he's quite happy at that and looking forward to his life and his work yet again.
Mm-hmm. And is this the first time, maybe in the history of the country, where a sitting minister of government was actually robbed in his constituency?
No, it is not. Well, in terms of in his constituency, I am unable to say, but we have had an experience of a minister in this country being the victim of crime before. Yes, unfortunately, yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald Hinds, I know it is customary for cabinet ministers here to have close protection officers. Is that not the case in Trinidad and Tobago? Or more accurately, what are the security arrangements for ministers?
Well, what typically happens here is that there are certain officers of the state who are, as of right, entitled to close protection security, and they enjoy that, the president, the prime minister, and such like. In all other cases, including ministers of government, the special branch, a special unit of the police service, would routinely undertake security assessments of individuals, especially upon request or if some incident transpired, and if they think that the risk facing the particular office holder is sufficiently grave, they will recommend, and therefore security would be attached to the minister. In Mr. Dale Singh's case, that was not so. He, like many other of our ministerial colleagues, go about their business without close protection security.
I imagine, though, that considering what has happened, those arrangements might be at least reviewed.
Well, I imagine, yes, because the world is changing. As a former president of this country rather critically put it a few months before his death, mankind is simply not getting any better. We look around the world and we see what is happening in the United States, in Japan not too long ago. So we are part of this world, and yes, I imagine reviews of security arrangements. An ongoing process will take place.
Mm-hmm. And is it a conversation that you're planning to have from a cabinet level especially with the leader of the cabinet, the prime minister, to look at enhancing the security measures for not only those within the cabinet, but public officials alike?
Well, as I said, some public office holders are with close protection security at their residence as they move around as a matter of right. Those who are assessed to have sufficiently high levels of risk will be assigned close protection security, and these matters are routinely raised and discussed at the level of the National Security Council, which is chaired by the Prime Minister. So I'm sure that this matter have gained and will gain the attention of the government in that sense, and more particularly the National Security Council.
And
what has been the response also of the Prime Minister regarding this particular matter?
Well, I'm sure that the Honorable Prime Minister, and based on my own contact with him, and of course it would be near repugnant to be discussing what the Prime Minister and I discuss in private, but suffice it to say, he too was astounded at the development, and he too expressed concern about that development, and he too is relieved that no serious harm came to the Honorable Minister, and he would have urged the law enforcement platform, as he's been doing on an ongoing basis, to do more, to come out there and be as present as they could possibly be across the country to deter and to prevent things like this from happening. Yeah.
And Mr. Hines, could you give me an update in terms of what the police understand as the situation, how it unfolded? Because reports suggest that Mr. Dale Singh was targeted for that robbery, as in it was not just he was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Well, I can't confirm that theory, and I don't know from whence that came. As far as I know, Minister Dale Singh was in a very public place. I know the location myself, in his constituency, a popular liming spot, a bar, and he was sitting there with one of his constituents based on his report, and the two assailants came up. One was armed with a gun, and they deprived him of his gold bracelet, what they call a bira in Trinidad and Tobago. It could very well be, it seems more likely that they may have been driving by and might have observed this piece of jewelry upon the Honorable Minister. They kind of turned back. We don't know. I doubt, from all the facts available to me, I am not in a position to confirm the theory that you have just shared with me. It doesn't appear so to me. From all the information available to me, doesn't appear to be any special targeting of the Honorable Minister. Certainly not.
Okay, understood. Thank you very much, Mr. Fitzgerald Hines. That's Fitzgerald Hines. He's the Trinidad Minister of National Security. Thank you again, and all the best to your fellow Cabinet Minister, Mr. Dale Singh.
Thank you very, very much. We appreciate this, and I know we in Trinidad and Tobago share the burdens of the burgeoning crime problem that you face in Jamaica. We experienced it in Trinidad, in St. Kitts and St. Vincent, across the region. The problem seems to be very, very much the same. The proliferation of illegal firearms and the attitude and behavior of too many of our citizens to make use of them, to abuse people, to kill. And we are all in this fight as a region. Through CARICOM Impacts, we are in this fight together, and the fight against it will continue. Thank you very, very much. All the best to you.
Well said. That's Fitzgerald Hines, Minister of National Security. More after this break.
The Watchman, exploring issues shaping our society, government, and business. Provocative, unconventional, Dr. Henley Morgan is The Watchman.
Good evening. The abortion dilemma. To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or take arms against the sea of troubles, and by opposing, end them. The opening lines from William Shakespeare, Hamlet, Act 3, Scene 1, accurately and painfully portrays the mental anguish suffered by women facing the existential threat of an unwanted pregnancy. Page 3 of the September 15, 2024 Sunday Observer carried the story of one woman who found a way out of the crisis. Written by staff reporter Tamoy Ashman, the story is of an unnamed 35-year-old woman, mother of a 13-year-old who she raises with the help of others, visually impaired and also suffering from Graves' disease, living in an unsafe environment, who becomes pregnant with her second child. Upon sharing the news with the father, he shunned, ridiculed, and gave her money for an abortion. Desperate, with no one to turn to, she made her way to a clinic that performs abortions. On arriving there, she encounters people from the anti-abortion group Friends for Life. A member of the group approached her and assured her that if she changed her mind about terminating the pregnancy, they would help her bring the child into the world. Long story short, she decided to carry her baby to term. In her own words, she no longer considers the child a burden, but a blessing. With the United States Supreme Court's June 2022 overturn of Roe versus Wade, the law that gave women the right to an abortion under the Constitution, the topic has gained increased interest and debate worldwide, including here in Jamaica. Under Section 72 of the Jamaican 1864 Offenses Against the Person Act, abortion is criminalized under all circumstances and is punishable up to a maximum of life imprisonment. According to a study by Caribbean Policy Research Institute, CAPRI, despite the threat of lifelong incarceration, women undergo roughly 22,000 illegal abortions per year in Jamaica, with or without medical supervision. A disproportionate number of these women are young and of lower socioeconomic status. The proverbial daggers are drawn. On one side are the pro-choice advocates, including the World Health Organization, WHO, and an overwhelming number of professionals in the medical fraternity who contend that when taken out of the dark into the light, abortion is a safe healthcare intervention. On the other side is the church, which, although not being able to give chapter and verse from the Bible directly addressing abortion, claim the good book is replete with scriptures that speak to the sanctity and value of life beginning in the womb. While the debate rages on with no end in sight, and remembering the story at the start of the commentary, one would do well heeding the words of Dr. Daniel Thomas of Love March Movement, an organization with a mandate to significantly reduce or bring to an end abortion. I quote him, "We are not just saying, don't abort the baby. We are saying, we will come alongside you. We will find the means in order to help you." Think on these things.
Produced by Agency for Inner City Renewal, AIR, and recorded in the Jamming Studio, Trenchtown, a breath of fresh air bringing change to the inner city.
Tie your laces, put on something purple, and support the CIBC Caribbean Walk for the Cure. Join us at Hope Gardens on Sunday, October 6th at 6 a.m. We're walking, running, and moving in the fight against cancer. Sign up today at runningeventsja.com. Registration fee $3,000 includes your Walk for the Cure t-shirt while supplies last. CIBC Walk for the Cure, Sunday, October 6th, 6 a.m. at Hope Gardens. All proceeds in aid of the Jamaica Cancer Society.
Welcome back, listeners. We are now going to be taking your calls. The numbers are 630-937-124 and 618-8255. And we're going to go back to the break and then your calls.
You want to play all your favorite Supreme Ventures games like Cashpot and Lotto in a one place? Plus bet on sports with Just Bet and horse racing with MBet? Come take a step in at the new SV Games app. All of the games you love in a one place. Step in and play all your numbers. Bet on all your sports and get enough chances to win in the only gaming app you need. SV Games from Supreme Ventures. Visit supremegames.com to download the SV Games app. More ways to bet, more ways to win at your fingertips. Must be 18 years or older to play.
Tie your laces, put on something purple, and support the CIBC Caribbean Walk for the Cure. Join us at Hope Gardens on Sunday, October 6th at 6 a.m. We're walking, running, and moving in the fight against cancer. Sign up today at runningeventsja.com. Registration fee $3,000 includes your Walk for the Cure t-shirt while supplies last. CIBC Walk for the Cure, Sunday, October 6th, 6 a.m.
To discuss, come get your mind blown and your curiosity explored. Boy, things after dark.
Welcome back, listeners and viewers. As I said, we are going to take your calls. The numbers are 630-937-124 and 618-8255. But before we get to that, I understand you wanted to say something, Sanjay, based on the discussions at around 5:30.
Yes. So there seems to be a split in opinion as it relates to the FID and their remit as it relates to doing joint investigation with the Integrity Commission. And I know that some individuals have been saying, based on the MOU that exists, the FID and the Integrity Commission, they can do joint operation. But apparently, there was a joint select committee where the FID and the Integrity Commission indicated that because of the gag order, it doesn't allow them to do joint operations. So there clearly needs to be some clarity as it relates to the gag order, because clearly the two bodies, the Integrity Commission and the FID, they are not of the view that they can do joint operations owing to the gag clause that exists. So I just wanted to clarify that, because I know a lot of persons were asking and they were referring me to that MOU signed between the FID and the Integrity Commission. But there are limitations to that, as the FID and both the FID and the Integrity Commission indicated that they are not allowed, which is the reason why the Integrity Commission referred the matter to the FID for further investigation.
Well, they did not exactly refer to the FID. They called
suggested
to
to
support
Parliament
such a
that
referral.
it be referred to. Correct. Yes.
Because I think it was Tom Tavares Finson who pointed out that Parliament has no such ability to essentially instruct the FID. I believe the only person outside of the Director General of the FID who can make such an instruction would have to be the Minister of Finance himself.
Correct. Which is why they made the suggestion suggest to Parliament that it be referred to the FID, because for that very reason, within their remit, the Integrity Commission can't do joint operation with the FID, and neither can they refer it to the FID.
But there's still the overarching point, Sanjay, that I think a lot of people are wondering. What has been accomplished by the Integrity Commission based on their own calls for international forensic auditor for $30 million, I'm now hearing, and that 6-month operation where they essentially came out with nothing more that they could substantiate the Integrity Commission's concerns with, that they now must put it to the FID to essentially retread ground that has been retread?
I hear that as part of the discussion, Siobhan, and I've listened to someone from civil society who indicated that, look, based on the office and the fact that this is, the highest political office in the country, there is need for that, and even if they can't reach a point of finality, as the Integrity Commission indicated, then if there is need for it to go further, so that they can certify the statutory declaration, there's no cost that can be put on it. And that's what some individuals in civil society have indeed indicated.
And let's say the FID does suggest that either A, they have no intention of taking it further, or they do take it further and come back to the same conclusion of inconclusive. Would that be enough to satisfy the the Director of Information and Complaints at the Integrity Commission?
Well, no, that would be a good question, because if I would think that if the FID and the TAJ, they come back to say there's nothing untoward, then based on what the Integrity Commission indicated, it would mean that they should, based on their explanation, certify his statutory declaration. However, if it comes back inconclusive, that now would be a good question to answer by the Integrity Commission. Then what's next? Yeah. So that's an interesting point to see how the Integrity Commission will respond if it comes back to say it's inconclusive.
Well, I understand we have you on the line, Carl. Good evening. How are you doing?
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening, Carl.
Good evening. Interested time in Jamaica. I want to start right here. The PMP have no credibility to be calling upon nobody to resign. None at all. Them have a gentleman by the name of Mark Jefferson Golding. How did you get 2 British visa? That's what needs to be investigated. That's the first one. That's the first one need to be investigated. The same Greg Christie refer both Golding and Bunting to be charged.
No, Carl. As I understand it, it was the company B&J.
Right. B&J, right. But them was the head of it. Don't it?
That's before my time. I can't remember the reporting operation. Okay. But as I understand it, there was some irregularities unearthed.
Right.
And the Contractor General called for a further probe. But I don't believe the Contractor General made any specific allegation towards either Mr. Bunting or Mr. Golding.
We can check it. Everything can find. You can check everything that's happening around the world now in a touch of a button. Quick as nothing. Anyhow, next one. I'm very happy this evening that Mr. Morgan pushed back on your second host and tell him that
don't call him my second host, Carl. At least be respectful. My name is Sanjay Lewis. Stop that.
Sanjay, I am very happy that Mr. Morgan pushed back on him this evening. That him expect him to carry the same line that the PMP would have carried on human rights. Human rights can't open their mouth and call upon Mr. Holness to resign. Because if you notice them on Sunday, they have to be very silent. Human rights cannot come out and say nothing. Remain right when they're human rights. Can't open no mouth. Keep very quiet. People
who must keep very quiet? The civil society?
Yes, they can't open their mouth. You notice
why? Why you said that? Tell me why you said that. And go more into that for me.
You're not going to jam it down into that. From Sunday, you hear all of them jump out for Monday morning if I did something over a JLP happen what happened Sunday at the National Arena. Then that's as far as I will go. And you listen every one of the program. You hear none of them say nothing? No. Cannot open their mouth. So none of them can open their mouth about Mr. Holness to resign now. None of them. Keeping yourself very quiet. And you doesn't remember me. I'm going to lead you back to something that you did to me personally.
Me?
No, your host. When I was on another radio station, I called you one morning. A time our economy grew by eight consecutive quarter. Our economy grew. And when I was trying to say to you, you said to me that if me want to advertise the Jamaica Labour Party or what them are doing, we must go somewhere else and you hang up on
No. That's a lie.
Tell me no.
No.
And I will
hold on. I will go and no. Stop right there. No, you're not going to come here and do that. If it's one thing that I've been very clear on, and I've said it here and I've said it elsewhere, that the management of the economy by this finance minister is commendable and it's excellent. And I make no qualms about that. And I will say that anywhere. And if you come to say, no, hold on, no, because I listen to you. If you come on to talk about the growth of within the economy and the consecutive growth, I would never never say, don't say that here, because you're not saying anything that is not true. So try remember if I'm the one that you have spoken to as it relates to that, but certainly it's not me.
Okay. Anyhow, I put it out there, and we can't ask for a radio station to hunt for the clip. You hear my voice?
Oh yes, I would love for you to play that clip, because I challenge you on that one. I would never have said that.
You see, a lot of us doesn't remember. We only remember what happened at the Jamaica Labour Party, but we don't remember what happened otherwise.
Well, you see, for me, I'm not a card-carrying member of any political party. So I'm here to be fair and balanced, and I'm going to call out both sides when the need arises. Well, I am not. So I am going to call out both sides when the need arises, and I will commend both sides when the need arises. I said the same thing when I was at the other radio station, and I'm saying the same thing here, and I make no apology for that.
I'm a card carrier for the Jamaica Labour Party. I don't hide on a microphone and say I'm not a PMP or a JLP. I doesn't free it. Even into my vehicle I discuss it. You want to like me, you like me. I have a young, brilliant Prime Minister which born in a Spanish town. In all of his assets is in Jamaica. We have a man who wants to lead a country now, which tell you say him not even own a house in Jamaica. Why not? Those are questions you don't need to ask. Some of your comrades need to ask those type of questions. How do you want to lead a country where you're saying not even a house you know own in Jamaica? Go out and ask the question. Go out and ask the question. The Integrity Commission. All right, before we reach back there, so now, Sam Tavares Finson said yesterday evening that the Parliament have no privilege to investigate, to say to go investigate anything more. What I want, Mr. Tam Tavares.
No, his specific is that the Parliament cannot call on the FID to do such a thing.
The FID to do that. What I want him to do is to write the Integrity Commission and give them 24 hours to release the Prime Minister document or order him to be charged.
And I'm fairly certain Parliament also has no such power to guide the Integrity Commission in that manner.
Because if a body could have investigated the Prime Minister for 3 years, the highest body that's set up to investigate that type of corruption, where them did that over 3 years, and then cannot find nothing, that them have to refer it to somewhere else. What did the $30 million out of the taxpayer money went to?
I hear you, Carl. All right. He raised an interesting question, though. What would happen if there is a potential standoff where the FID and TAJ both say they're not going to take this any further? Where does that leave the Integrity Commission if they're suggesting that only if it's taken through the FID they can have finality? Just that means the Integrity Commission under no circumstances will certify Andrew Holness's statutory declarations. It's just going to stay in limbo until we have new Integrity Commissioners?
That's an interesting point, Siobhan, and it would be interesting to hear from the Integrity Commission, now that the matter is public, what's next? Because as you rightly indicated, what if they decide that they're not going to do any further investigation and the Integrity Commission indicated that this needs to be done as a point of finality? Then what happens? Is it that the Prime Minister's statutory declaration would never be certified? That's a good question.
And I also wonder if the Integrity Commission is taking it upon itself to do more than its office actually requires. Because if your own director of corruption prosecution tells you the Prime Minister has nothing to answer to, and you have your concerns and you have your worries, should it rise beyond that level? Are the commissioners now taking upon themselves additional moral and ethical powers that they do not actually possess, where it is just a matter of formally saying this is where it has ended in terms of our own process? I mean, if you want to say that another agency must take it up, that is fine. But to suggest that, no, we're going to hold up this process for longer until said entity does more, I don't know if that is the right way to go about it. I think it really does create a bit of a stalemate that does not have a proper resolution currently in law that needs to be addressed either in the legislation of the Integrity Commission or on another piece of legislation.
Yeah.
Well, Richie, you're on the line. Evening.
I'm here for the long as well, but I'm here to make trouble again. The PMP, they are desperate and hungry for power. They say they're going to win, but they're not get shower. I have a brother, 66 years old. This man never voted in one life. And the man say, I vote now. Because of party that he can stage. You hear me say? But I am so disappointed about, what's my name again? Anyway, they say they carry cartel there. And they are going to get more votes because of the carrying cartel there. Then JLP is going to get more votes from uncommitted voters. The question I want to ask them, I'm reminding them, do they remember that it's only 29% of the people voted at it?
No, but that is. But let me tell you, Richie, that is the actual very, very pretty much cold calculation, because that 29% most likely includes people who would support Vybz Kartel and would very much enjoy to see Vybz Kartel on a political platform. That is the cold calculation that the People's National Party has made, that the rest of the middle class and those well-thinking Jamaicans who have taken themselves away from the political process will do not one thing one way or the other if Vybz Kartel is on a political platform.
That's
what they're counting on is that Mr. Kartel will now energize those people who will vote based on, I don't want to use any, I'm not going to use anything inflammatory, but based on very specific and base needs, will rabidly vote based on an endorsement for Kartel.
That's what they believe. My brother is 66 and never voted. And he says he's going to vote JLP because of it. You understand what I'm saying? But in terms of Mr. Onyx statutory reduction, you have the Inter Commission, which I continue to call them so-called. These people are very educated people, bright lawyers. They, the judge alone trial, what do they call them again?
Judge alone trial is not judge alone trial. What do you mean?
The man that Eddie Commission. What's his name again?
Oh, you mean the retired Justice Seymour Panton?
Yes, he's the man who try the judge alone trial for the Klansman gang. Is him?
I don't think so. I'm not sure.
You know,
Sanjay, can you speak to that? I don't think so.
I'm trying to find out who he is. Is that him? Is that him?
I'm pretty sure it would have been Brian Sykes who was overseeing the Klansman trial. Or I could be wrong, but I believe it was Brian Sykes. I don't think Seymour Panton was on the.
Okay, it's Brian Sykes.
Was in the courts at that time.
So he was in the court at that time. Is he in the court now?
No, he's retired.
It's Brian Sykes who had oversee the
exactly.
trial.
I'm very happy that is not him. God no. I'm very, very happy that it is, because somebody I want to find out who is that person really. But the point I'm making, these people are some very, very bright people, and this is the body that is at the helm of leading the country in terms of justice. And in my opinion, based on what I'm learning for the longest while, these people they're very political, and this is my reason for saying that. It was one of them who referred the Prime Minister to the DP for conflict of interest. The second, what is that name again?
I hear you, Richard, but here's the thing. I don't, and people can call me naive all the way, I don't think this is a matter of political witch huntery, as many people believe. I think it's a matter that the Integrity Commission is being very slavish to the very minutiae of the law.
Listen, when I read that, you know, what you mean?
As in, they see a issue that must be interrogated to the death of it until they have absolute 100% certainty that it has been interrogated fully, whereas I think almost any other law enforcement entity would simply say, well, it's either here nor there at this moment, and maybe it's not best to pursue it further. As their own director of prosecutions has said, well, I don't know if I can actually mount any actual substantial challenge to anything you've brought to me here.
So why didn't they do what they should have done before they did that?
As I said, and call me naive all you want, it just may be a simple matter.
You have the right to have your own opinion.
It may just be a simple matter that they want to see 100% certainty and finality to be provided by the Prime Minister, who holds essentially the highest office of the land. And they feel, as the Prime Minister, he should actually face a greater level of scrutiny than anybody else. And they're sticking to that principle, even when others would suggest that there should be at least some level of wiggle room here.
But I'm saying again, these guys, they are some of the brightest people in Jamaica. So why did it read there? That's the question I'm asking, you know.
I just want to point out, listener, that the Court of Appeal, Court of Appeal doesn't try cases, right? And
they investigate.
Retired Justice Panton, who is now the chair of the Integrity Commission, was the president of the Court of Appeal. Right?
But the point I'm making now, though, that body of people, they are there to keep the country accountable. That's my reason. That's what it is?
Yes, to keep the politicians accountable and our public service accountable, yes.
Yes. And this is a body of people. They are so educated that they should have been able to investigate Prime Minister that declaration fully. And they could not have done it. So they get a private investigator and his report come back. They find nothing wrong with it. So what is that they're keeping up now?
Because they have indicated that the financial dealings, they have some concerns, and they also have concerns as it relates to declaration that is to be made to the Tax Authority of Jamaica.
Yes.
So both authorities, the FID and the TAJ, they are the competent authority, and that is why they made the recommendation that Parliament have both entities review aspects of the declaration that they have concerns with. And that is why they also indicated that after that is done, they need to reach a point of finality before they can be comfortable in certifying the Prime Minister's statutory declaration.
So are you saying that the private investigator that they paid couldn't do the job?
Well, clearly, they also indicated, based on what was provided to the investigator, there were some concerns because there are other things that they asked for. So, but for whatever it is, the private investigator, the accounting investigator, indicated that there was nothing. But they indicated that there are still some concerns, that the competent body within the country, or two competent bodies, the FID and the TAJ, they need to further to have a further probe.
But I have to talk to you about this one, Sanjay, because as I said earlier, if this had been in a normal court, a normal investigation carried out by the FID or the police, we would have received a statement to suggest based on what has been provided to us by the Integrity Commission, it would have been ended right there. If it was any other organization who had come to the position where the Integrity Commission had come to, it would have been ended right there. They would have said the Prime Minister has no case to answer for, and we are done. The Integrity Commission is now essentially saying, despite what our director of prosecution has said, we want more. And I don't know if that is a feasible way to carry out the affairs of the Integrity Commission.
The PMP, in terms of my belief, for the longest while we have been caught in the interview, so-called. Because, for example, it is one here, June Gun is one here. They talk about Elite 6. It was Elite 6, and until now we don't know what Elite 6. Can you tell me what it is? You ever hear them talk? And we have been calling for them for the longest time to tell them who. We say it is 2, then it got up to 6, and Margot, and they say no, it's 5.
Do you understand why those individuals who are being investigated for illicit enrichment cannot be named by the Integrity Commission. Do you know why?
No.
Because there is what is considered a gag clause that was implemented, which prevents the Integrity Commission from speaking on active investigations. And it can only be spoken about when it is tabled in the Parliament. That's the only time. So any investigation that the Integrity Commission is doing, they cannot declare that they are investigating person A or person B unless that person, they decide to come forward to say, hey, I am being investigated by the Integrity Commission. And I don't know which public official would come forward to say that they are being investigated, because as far as I'm concerned, that is you incriminating yourself.
But the point is, right now they say 3 for the JLP and 5 for the PNP. Margaret is out there saying all of them.
But that's an observer report, sir. We don't know. We don't know if all 8 are from whichever.
No.
We don't know.
I'm not saying that we know. I'm saying they said 3 for the JLP and 5 for the PNP.
The observer report said that.
Well, Mr. Golding believes that his people are telling him the truth when they say they aren't aware of the investigation. I don't know if that's the case or not the case. I will just simply say it that way, Carl. I don't know if it's 3 JLP and 5 PNP or 4 for each side. I don't know until a report is tabled. I don't think we should put any salt beyond it being the very, very base political tactic it is that the man come up and say, well, my people said they don't know and they're not on the investigation. What does that mean to me?
Mr. Golding said that he repeat what he said. Mr. Golding said what? Mr. Golding what is the moment beyond the political capital of saying it? What is the moment of Mr. Golding taking to the platform to say, well, my people say they are not being investigated? What is the moment of that? But the point is, who can trust Mr. Golding to tell the truth?
I'm going to trust Mr. Golding to say that he did ask his people and his people did say that. I will trust that to be the truth. But I am going to say, as Sanjay has pointed out, it is not in any politician's political interest, especially at this time, so close to an election, to even suggest that, maybe the Integrity Commission might be looking into something that I may have done. And that goes to both sides, PNP, JLP. So I am not going to say and trust that every single member of the PNP caucus in the Parliament is being truthful when they told Mr. Golding or came out on some social media platform to say, well, I don't know, I'm being investigated. The Integrity Commission has not told me that. I don't care. It means nothing until the Integrity Commission tells me otherwise. So the only persons who benefit from this are people who enjoy the political pantomime of somebody saying, well, I am not. What does it mean?
Well, I'm going to close by telling you, Siobhan, Cliff always say, politics are dirty sport. But you see where I see Margaret and PNP character, it's a cesspool. That's how nasty they play it. I'm gone.
All right. Siobhan, I just want to say something. A popular attorney sent me this, and he says, certification of a declaration is not the same as investigating someone for murder or other crimes. The law requires the Integrity Commission to satisfy itself that the declarations are accurate. If they are not satisfied that the declarations are correct, they cannot certify. It's not a matter of laying charges at the end of an investigation.
I'm happy you brought that up, though, Sanjay, because then what is the purpose of the certification if, other than to say the Prime Minister is not certified, if it cannot be escalated beyond that? So it means nothing, the certification itself means nothing other than them saying they're satisfied that it's certified?
Well, I mean, the certification in this aspect would mean that all that is presented before them, they are satisfied that there is nothing untoward, there is no illicit enrichment, and the proceeds...
No, but illicit enrichment is an actual charge that they can bring against somebody.
True, but I'm saying they are satisfying themselves, and I'm listing a number of things that they would satisfy themselves against to say that we are standing behind this declaration. We are satisfied that what is presented to us, there's nothing untoward, and as such, it is certified.
But the term untoward is what I have an issue with, Sanjay, because if you are telling me that you cannot certify the Prime Minister's declaration, you put that out into the ether, which has now put him under increasing political pressure, only to now say that, well, it's just a term to say that we aren't satisfied and that it means nothing beyond that. It's a little contradictory, because it has put the Prime Minister in a difficult position where, let's face it, it is going to hurt him come any election, regardless of what people want to suggest. It can't be just that. It can't be just that, well, we are not satisfied and that's it and we just leave it there. It cannot be. It has to be more to that, Sanjay. It has to be that they want it settled and they can say with finality that they've certified the Prime Minister's declarations. And it cannot be that that requirement must now fall to another investigative agency to satisfy their own requirement. I don't see how that is feasible. Martin, good evening.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
First, I'm talking to you, Sanjay.
Yes.
Thanks for the opportunity. I have a few questions I don't think nationwide, well, you guys can answer. That can the Integrity Commission now speak on this matter since the report has been tabled? First question.
I suspect they can speak the elements of the report, and I can't imagine that it will escape scrutiny at the Oversight Committee meeting.
All right, so can we demand, and we mean Jamaicans, the media demand that the Integrity Commission, the personnel, have a press conference or go before Parliament. No, don't tell anybody about themselves. Go before Parliament and answer tough questions.
I will put it this way, Carlo. If Edmund Bartlett, who is the chairman of the Integrity Commission Oversight Committee, has not already put in that request where not only the directors, and I mean all of the directors, all four of them, but the commissioners themselves, with Seymour Panton, all present themselves to the Parliament to speak to this matter. I realized since the inception of the Oversight Committee that Mr. Panton has not availed himself of that forum. I would like to see that changed. He is a commissioner. He should go to the Parliament and explain his reasoning, because I think an element of this that has been missed by a lot of Jamaicans, and it must be reminded, this was not somebody tipping off the Commission to say that the Prime Minister has done something wrong or there are concerns about the Prime Minister. This was the commissioners of the Integrity Commission saying, wait, we have seen a irregularity or something in terms of unexplained wealth, and we would like you, the directors, to look into it and then report back to us. So on that basis, Mr. Panton must avail himself of the Joint Select Committee, not the Joint Select Committee, the Oversight Committee of the Integrity Commission in Parliament to discuss this further and give better particulars.
It has not been missed by me. Another thing that has not been missed by me is the initial communication that the Integrity Commission sent to the Prime Minister is missing from the report. And I want to know, why is that? Why do we have the Prime Minister's reply, but we do not have the communication that the Integrity Commission sent to him in the first place?
I mean, that can easily be explained away as it might contain sensitive information that the Integrity Commission was not comfortable having in the public domain.
Then, sir, you can redact that section of it. Because now you leave it to say the Prime Minister, they left it there. They put the Prime Minister's reply to say that he knew he was under investigation, but didn't disclose that. And reasonable or unreasonable people can jump to that conclusion. You cannot give me a piece of information and expect that I will draw a conclusion without the full thing. Another thing, I don't see the prudency, and I work in finance. I do not see the prudence of any department going outside. If something happened in Nationwide, would Nationwide not start investigation internally, get a report, then decide, okay, I'm going to call in outsiders to do it? So when the Integrity Commission jumped, the FID, or whoever who is inside of Jamaica and decides they're going international, now they want to come back to the FID, it makes no sense.
But remember, caller, and I have to caution you there, remember the FID and the Integrity Commission indicated that, look, they cannot, hold on now, they cannot refer matters to them they're not, the gag order prevents them from doing that. So even though there's a MOU which allows them to share certain information, it limits them as to what they can do and if they can do joint investigations, which is why the Integrity Commission is saying, look, after we have done our internal investigation, we have hired a private investigator, we are still not satisfied. And because we're still not satisfied, and they have listed the issues that they are not comfortable with, they are recommending that the two competent authorities, the FID and the TAJ, investigate. And once they come back with their findings, then it can reach a point of finality, which they have indicated. Now, Siobhan raised a valid point. What if they indicated that, look, we're not going to investigate? Or what if they have indicated that at the end of the investigation, it's inconclusive? Then what happens? Which is a valid point. Yeah? But they have explained, in a sense, prior to today or yesterday, they have said that they can't do joint investigations. They've said it to a joint select committee of parliament because of the gag order.
Okay. I don't buy this gag order business, but leave it there for now. These transactions, these accounts, the account is part of it, and the companies associated with Mr. Holness. 2020 statutory declaration is the first time the Integrity Commission has come across that information.
Well, as I said, Carl, what triggered this was the commissioner suggesting that I believe it was $4 million in unexplained net worth that the director of investigations then revised down to a $1.9 million unexplained net worth that I assume triggered further investigations into a lot of matters there.
So it's an investigation that don't seem to have any end in sight. We just continue until they satisfy themselves.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, if based on what Sanjay's legal opinion was given to him, that the certification is just them being satisfied themselves, what moment is it? If nothing can come from the fact that they can't certify the Prime Minister, they cannot press charges against him, they cannot pursue the matter further based on what they have said. What moment is it? What moment is their certification beyond the political capital?
Another question, a most important question I'll put to them. There are 84 members of the Parliament of Jamaica. And based on my reading of this report, it seemed to me that the Integrity Commission has a different criteria for the Prime Minister, who is a parliamentarian, than the other members of Parliament.
How do you come to that conclusion?
I don't have the report in front of me, as I didn't print it yet. But there's a section where the DI director basically tried, he basically slapped down the Prime Minister. He's not living up to integrity, and he's not living up to this, and he's not living up to that. Then the other sentence, they tried to walk it back. And that section says to me that this is the process for the Prime Minister alone.
I believe but here's the, there is a separate process for the but here's a sir, let me answer your question. We're running out of time, and you've asked a question that does require an answer. There is a separate requirement for the Prime Minister and the opposition leader, but I believe that is only in so much as they are the only two individuals whose certifications must be made public.
That's the only difference.
I'm not talking about public. I mean, he must be one.
No, but that's actually the crux of the matter, the inability of the Integrity Commission to certify the Prime Minister and make that certification public. Yeah, the irony that is the crux of the matter. So that differentiation is what matters. It is important. But we're out of time, listener. It's 7:59. And YouTubers, which was very active tonight, I thank you for the privilege and honor as usual, YouTubers and listeners, of having me as your host. Thanks to our technical operator, Andrew Glenn Anderson, our super producer, Dana Davey, my friends and compatriots in the news and production department, led by the capable Kimon Thompson, who is filling in for Cara Powell, who is on leave. I am Siobhan Campbell.
And my name is Sanjay Lewis, and I think the listeners making mention of the last part of the report, which spoke to the Nolan principle and the duty of the office holder, that of Prime Minister and Head of Government. But that's it. Thank you as always, and special thanks to my YouTubers. We don't always agree, but we're all friends. Have yourselves a wonderful evening.
Taboo topics. Voyagings after dark.
Riveting discussions.
Celebrity news and interviews.
Topics that are shunned by society.
And